It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Ambers. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
I'd much rather be playing some Bruno Martino as we welcome you into the sports bar. It's a Blame Assessment Monday. Thanks for joining us at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the free-to-download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. And thanks for checking us out on YouTube. Our stream is up live and rolling right now at The Fan Rochester on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
Ooh, let me take a victory lap, I suppose. Like if you
Nobody
listen to
cares when you're right. Nobody
Sports
cares
Bar,
when you're right, Gene.
I told you what would happen
No,
here.
we all kind of saw the warning signs there. I think what we didn't expect was what we got out of Drake May and what we got out of Stefan Diggs. We'll talk about it this afternoon here in the sports bar. We're glad you're with us, and as we do on a Blame Assessment Monday, we take plenty of your calls at 866-4326-585, 866-4FAN. And to talk about the Bills today, we bring in a couple of our favorites covering the team, including Ryan Talbot from New York Upstate. He'll be stopping by at 4:25. Also, Dan Fates from 13 Wham Sports and Buffalo Plus stopping by later on this hour.
Yeah, as the Bills lose number one this week a little longer, is the next game is going to be the following Monday in Atlanta, and then it's off to the bye. And we welcome the New England Patriots now to the party in the race for the AFC East.
And when you look at the Patriots' schedule, it's not impossible to see them as a 7-2 team. Their next 4 games all look like they could be wins if New England plays the way that they played on Sunday night against Buffalo.
So they go to New Orleans. They go to Tennessee. They're home against the Browns. They're home against the Falcons. May I continue, Danger? Because after that, they get the Buccaneers. Okay, that's a tough game. Home against the Jets. At the Bengals. Pfft. Okay, that doesn't look scary anymore. Home against the Giants. The Bills on December 14th. Then they finish out against Ravens, Jets, Dolphins.
Yeah.
They're
a playoff team.
They're a playoff team. And if the Bills don't take care of business, this is why we love this league. Can we just admit that things change so quickly, and this is one of those storylines?
Right. I think the Bills still have the inside track to the 1 seed. Their schedule is fairly easy as well. They've got a couple of, now worrisome matchups when you look at what the Chiefs are going to be, and I'm not going to overlook Atlanta coming up here a week from tonight. But the Patriots, when we talked to Fitzy last week, it was funny. What's your expectation for the season? 7 wins, 8 wins. We'll be happy with that. What if you beat Buffalo? We're a playoff team. I'm like, yes, I agree with that. If you beat Buffalo on a Sunday night in Orchard Park, you're probably going to the playoffs. And just to put it out there, I mean, we'll talk about the performance of Stefan Diggs, but shame on me and anybody else who doubted Drake May. Drake May outplayed Josh Allen yesterday. Fewer mistakes. Made some amazing plays, amazing throws. It looked like young Josh Allen rolling to his right and, when in trouble and completing and finding his guy in Steph Diggs. Just a better game for the Patriots. The Bills were sloppy. And if you learn anything as a Bills fan from this game, you learn that maybe the only team that can beat the Buffalo Bills is the Buffalo Bills.
Maybe because you don't have anybody on this team that can cover Diggs. You really don't.
Well, that's the funny thing. And as the game was going on, and look, I have been a Steph Diggs apologist. We had DA on with us last week on Friday, and he basically eviscerated Diggs. He's a problem. He's always been a problem. He's not worth the headaches. He's a bad guy. Everything that he said. And I kind of pushed back on him a little bit. I'm like, Diggs, I think, is partially, you can give him some credit for making Josh Allen who Josh Allen is. And I know that everybody eats is the new mentality and the new philosophy, but the reality is you don't have anybody that you have to game plan for if you're an opposing defense. You just don't. You have to game plan for Josh Allen and James Cook, but you don't have a receiver really anywhere near the caliber of what Steph Diggs is. And you let that go. You let that go. He still has game. He can still play. I know it didn't end well for him in Buffalo, but after watching his performance last night, I'm like, Diggs still has it. Like that guy still plays ball. He's not giving up anytime soon, which was discouraging. Discouraging to lose, not just to New England, but to lose to Diggs' his first return to Orchard Park.
And Mike Vrabel is how many steps ahead of Mr. Mayo?
Oh, so much better.
Like, so much better. He knows what to do against Josh Allen, and that was basically, all right, we're just going to keep everything in front. They took James Cook out. James Cook looked like an average running back last night.
But again, I think the Bills could have done more to involve James Cook. I mean, throughout the broadcast, and you might not agree with everything Collinsworth has to say, but Collinsworth was making a point frequently to say, yeah, I don't understand why they don't just put the ball in Josh Allen and James Cook's hands. They're your two best guys. Why are we getting cute? And I think Sean McDermott admitted that afterwards.
Okay, so that's where, like, there's certain tells here, and McDermott last night saying, we got too cute. Is he talking about the defense? Is he talking about the special teams? Or maybe he's talking about a play where, hey, let's hand it off to Dawson Knox. I wish I could tell you what that play was designed. I have no idea what that was supposed to do. Funny how, like, handing it off to a tight end that might result in a fumble. Right? So that is too cute. Funny how the last time the Bills lost on a Sunday night in Baltimore, it was a dumb trick play that really sealed the deal for the Bills in that loss.
That said, there were a couple of really good play calls. The two touchdowns that the Bills had, one being the Coleman catch, the other being the Curtis Samuel touchdown, where the design and the play call was perfect. Absolutely perfect. And you let them cook. Ultimately, for me, this comes down to Josh Allen throwing a red zone interception. If your quarterback is throwing red zone picks, you're leaving points on the board. The Patriots go 90 yards and score. And to me, that's when I felt like the game was over.
Yeah, it's very basic to say the turnovers cost the Bills the game. But in that instance, that's 3 points right there. And the Coleman fumble, that's 3 points right there. Who knows how many points the Bills would have gotten actually had Josh Allen not thrown that. And as many have pointed out, the penalties, everything kind of works hand in hand. Khalil Shakir, great player, right? We love him. What are you doing blocking before the ball is in the air? That's offensive PI. So instead of it being 3rd and 1, now you have 2nd and 13, and Allen's head is not in the right spot. That was... We don't see poor games from Allen. I don't want to say poor. It was below his standard.
Definitely below standard. And the turnovers, we were spoiled for a long time with a team that didn't turn the ball over. And this is the first time in how many games where they didn't win the turnover battle?
25.
Yeah. So, turnovers are going to happen. I think last season was a bit of an anomaly in that you only had, 8 for the entirety of the season. That's pretty damn good. You had 3 last night, all costly, leaving points on the board. The red zone pick was the one that was like, I don't know you're winning the game if you're throwing red zone picks, if you're Josh Allen. He knows. So the Bills, were the lone undefeated team for a short period of time. We can hang a banner and put it in the new stadium if you'd like to. But it's going to be, like it usually is, it's going to be a fight through the course of the season to get where you want to be. And if you're the Bills and you want that 1 seed, well, you're going to have more competition now. I mean, if you look around the AFC, we'll be paying attention to tonight's game because there is Bills implications to what we see out of the Chiefs and the Jags. The Colts look real. Houston has all of a sudden woken up. The Ravens, dead. The Bengals, the teams that we thought were going to be threats, not so much. The teams that we thought were were off to a slow start, starting to wake up. And nobody, and I mean nobody, could have predicted what the Colts have become. Nobody.
No. And one of these teams may end up kind of showing their colors, but how are we going to feel if the Bills lose to the Falcons going into the bye? I mean, last year the Bills actually lost back-to-back games. They lost at Baltimore and they lost at Houston, and we were kind of questioning, all right, maybe this team isn't so good, and they turned it around. There's going to be ups and downs, and this is why we love this league. Time for your calls. 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326. Dan Fates 13-1 will be joining us at the bottom of the hour. Tim in San Diego joining us. Hey, Tim.
Okay, just get rid of the forget about them.
Tim, you're cutting out on us, but we're having a hard time hearing what you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get rid of
Forget
what?
about the uniforms. Forget about the uniforms.
Tim, before you go on with your rant, I was going to say that too. Like, when was the last time a whiteout ever resulted in a favorable outcome for the team presenting the whiteout? I mean, for all the talk of Penn State and their whiteouts, every time there's a whiteout, they lose a big game. And this was a big game, and you do the whiteout, and it doesn't work. And who started the whiteout? It was the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah.
How many cups do they have? 0. The whiteout, it's a nice little trick for TV. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah, if you're going to have these, like, ice-themed winter uniforms, and you're doing this on the day where we got up to 85, yeah, it was not in the mindset.
Sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
Tim.
Okay, all right. I'm glad we all got that out of the way. Well, you mentioned in the intro, nobody has to game plan for anybody except Allen and Cook, and that's I'm listening to the post game last night. The Bills need to find out if there's anybody who can be a number one. They don't have a number one right now, as far as a wideout's concerned. And Keon Coleman he's okay, but he's becoming a one-trick pony a little bit with these jump balls. I think it was post game last night said there was like 4 jump balls and he only got one of them. It's like he's got to develop outside of just being the jump ball guy or being the red zone guy. And, as much as I hate to say it, Milano and Trey White, not looking good at all last night. I know Milano went out with the injury, and you got to wonder, I mean, is this guy going to be reliable in, the rest of the season? And, you mentioned also the cute plays. Joe Brady, he killed the momentum on that drive with that, supposed handoff to Dawson. I mean, they were rolling. Everything was great, and just really killed the momentum on that. And also, Mike Vrabel, going back to his head coaching days in Tennessee, has always given the Bills fits. So, last night, Gene, obviously predicting it, not surprised. And then the last drive they had, I thought there should have been a little more sense of urgency because, a friend of mine texted, he said, they're going to need the ball 3 times, not twice. If they don't get it, they're not going to win. And look what happened.
Yeah.
So,
as soon as Prater came out, Tim, thank you for setting the table. Great job as always. 866-4FAN. You're playing this out like they're not stopping Diggs and May here. Okay, as soon as Prater is coming out there, I understand, but they're going to kick a field goal at the end to win it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You wanted your defense to come up with a stop, and they hadn't really come up with a stop. That's not fair to say. They had come up with plenty of stops. On third down, the Patriots were only 3 of 9. So you can't say, they couldn't get off the field on third down. No, they did a pretty good job. The Patriots were only 33% at converting their third downs. But when you had and you had a pass rush in this game, if you're the Buffalo Bills. I mean, this was Drake May doing things that we saw Josh Allen do early in his career. It's eerily similar to what we saw Josh Allen do early in his career. You were putting pressure on him. The pass rush was getting to him. You got him sacked 4 times. You were credited with 8 quarterback hurries. So the pass rush was there. You had a good game out of Greg Rousseau, who got after it against Drake May, getting 6 total tackles. 2 tackles for a loss, getting a sack, getting 3 quarterback hurries. So this was really, you're no matter what, you weren't going to be able to stop them. Your pass rush was there. You were getting them off the field on third down. Some of the plays that Drake May made just were otherworldly. You don't expect those plays to happen. And when those plays do happen, you just kind of lick your wounds and say, well, it's not our night. It's just not going our way. You get to that next level and you see Diggs abusing Trey White. That's where I've got concern.
Well, why aren't they flipping corners? That's my question. Like, we can't try this at least? You're paying Benford. Like, Benford should not be on Boutte the whole night. Have him on a guy who's a borderline future Hall of Famer who really is motivated. But we didn't flip the corners last night. Dennis in Rochester. Hey, Dennis, welcome.
How you doing? One quick question. Very last play of the game, I think there was, 6 seconds left. Why did they not throw a Hail Mary and hope for penalty or something?
I didn't get that
I want to say that they were pushed back because there was a penalty on the return.
Yeah,
that drove them back to like the 20. I don't know that they would have had any way of completing.
Yeah, I guess like if you are there were 8 seconds. So Dennis, if we dial this back, right, there are 15 seconds at kickoff, and there's a lot of east-west running. It's like, guys, go down. I'm thinking, can you get down and then a 30-yard along the sideline? But see, then Prater's not the guy. His leg is kind of limited. He's not at this age kicking from 60, I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't have any hope. When there was a penalty on the return and Samuel kind of like tried for the big I think they were going all in on we need a big return from Samuel here.
I think, Dennis, what happened was I think it was some sort of trick play and somebody didn't get the memo where, okay, we're going to just kind of lateral it around, and well, there was nobody to dish it off to. So yeah, it was kind of a silly ending to the game, but yeah, down on the list. Yeah, thanks, Dennis. Appreciate the call. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Yeah, the Bills had to use their timeouts, and nothing left on the other end.
Nothing left on the other end, and Drake May, again, smart, right? He stays in bounds. He doesn't throw an incomplete pass to try and not get sacked. He'll take, a short loss in order to wind the clock down and kick the game-winning field goal. So clock management, a well-coached team, and a quarterback who I think arrived last night on national TV. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. Collinsworth said it. The great Ric Flair used to say it all the time. And he beat him last night. Steph Diggs noticed.
A young quarterback take a step in the right direction. They did a lot of comparisons during the week, and I feel like it was a hell of a comparison to be compared to Josh Allen. But as you come into your own, Drake May has to be Drake May. And I was just so proud of him, coming in here and leading the team. Being a young quarterback can be hard sometimes, and, that's why you have a supporting cast. Running backs making plays, receivers making plays, and let them know that you got his back. So I was just super proud of him. He has a good approach during the weekend. Attach yourself to the process and not the results.
The team that lost to the Raiders week 1. They lost to Aaron Rodgers. How do we – in the news out of New England, not good today. Antonio Gibson out for the year. That was an ACL.
Yeah.
So,
he knew it.
Yeah.
He knew it. I think he knew it right away. That was an emotional injury as he was leaving the field. Stevenson continues to fumble the ball, yet he gets his in the end zone. And – Diggs still has game. And I'll say it. I miss the guy. I miss that guy's talent. The talent, I know there's drama. I get it. But the talent is hard to replicate. And Sean McDermott has a culture. He wants to build a culture. He wants his locker room to be filled with a certain type of guy. And Diggs might not fit that culture and didn't fit that culture certainly his last year in Buffalo, because you could argue he was a distraction going into that season. But I don't really put that on Steph Diggs as much as I put it on Sean McDermott lying at a press conference about Diggs not being at minicamp. That's when it all fell apart for me.
Yeah, so there's going to be some sort of Seth Wickersham sort of book. Hopefully Perino will write it. This is like a decade down the road after the Bills get a Super Bowl win, and we want to know all those kind of stories like, oh, yeah, what was that really about? What I heard last night, Danger, was a little bit of revisionist history from everybody. Steph Diggs saying he has nothing but love for Josh Allen. BS. Total BS. I wasn't giving him the side eye. Okay, then what was that? At this point, it doesn't even matter. Say what you want, and now you are on the team that's coming for Buffalo. And it's a good reminder. Like, we're all kind of coasting along like, we're farting around against the Dolphins. Okay, let's just kind of win this game. Oh, we're farting around against the Saints. Let's go win this game. You're facing better teams now that are coming at you, and teams that want to win in Buffalo. Vrabel said that. He comes in, and he knew exactly, hey, this is the first time a team has won here in 14 games. That locker room was fired up, Danger.
Yeah.
Fired up.
Yeah, and as we started by saying, the Patriots could be a problem when you look at their schedule. They are going to be contending for the East, and they're going to be pushing the Bills. That game in December is going to be an important one. It's not a throwaway. Last year was a throwaway against Mr. Mayo. You didn't need that one. This one you're going to need. You're going to need this one. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see how the Bills react, not just this upcoming Monday, a week from tonight against Atlanta, but how they react for the rest of the season. This was a reminder that they are fallible, that they will make mistakes. They can make mistakes, and those mistakes are costly, and hopefully they learn from those mistakes and we see it corrected. I still can't get over the red zone. We're so spoiled. Like, quarterbacks throw red zone picks all the time. We used to see Josh Allen do it all the time, and he cleaned up his game so much that it's so out of character. It's so out of his game.
Did he have it predetermined in his mind because Shakir committed that penalty? Okay, I'm going to pick you up, my guy, and I'm going to get you the ball the next time. Because like Shakir, not only is he not, there's two guys on it.
That's right.
Like what are you not seeing there, Josh?
Yeah.
Right. So like for Josh, hey, go back to bed. Happens to everybody, Danger. Happens to everybody. They're going to dial up a bad game like that.
Now we do have one player who we will dub as a man on a mission. His name was Dalton Kincaid. Easily his best day as a professional football player. Caught all 6 targets, 108 yards. Good run after the catch. Dalton Kincaid, the fan Rochester's man on a mission, brought to you by the Open Door Mission. Go to opendoormission.com to see how you can guarantee a win for someone today. We go to Dan Fates at 13 Web Sports at BuffaloPlus.com to get his thoughts on the Bills' first loss of the season and look ahead to a week from tonight when the team travels to Atlanta. Dan Fates next on The Fan.
You're listening.
Bills with their first loss of the season, the first home loss in the regular season since November 2023. Josh Allen says, yeah, it's on them.
We just played sloppy. Not going to win a football game turning the ball over 3 times in our red zone. Gave them one in their red zone. That's just bad football, and we just did not play good tonight.
We will talk to Dan Bates, 13 Wham and Buffalo Plus. Dan joining us next year in the Sports Bar. Monday Night Football has the Chiefs and Jaguars. Baseball tonight, Dodgers in Philadelphia, LA up 1-0 in this series. Blake Snell against Jesus Luzardo. Cubs in Milwaukee then in the 9 o'clock hour. Shohei Imanaga against Aaron Ashby. The Yankees off tonight. They need to win 3 straight. Game 3 against the Jays tomorrow in the Bronx. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
They've raised the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
But in terms of not being able to consistently get drives going, like what went into that for you guys today?
Yeah, just shooting ourselves in the foot. Got to make those corrections and move forward.
Is tonight a lesson, Dalton? And if you don't take care of the ball and get penalties, that they can come back to bite you in the end?
Yeah, absolutely. Penalties, taking care of the ball, all things that we've been doing well and didn't do well tonight.
Well, if there was a bright spot for the Buffalo Bills, it was that man, Dalton Kincaid, who had his best night as a pro. Post-game there, as the Bills drop their first of the season to the New England Patriots on Sunday Night Football, we welcome in Dan Fates, 13 Wham Sports, Buffalo Plus. And when you look at the Patriots' schedule, Dan, the Patriots are going to challenge the Bills here in the East if this schedule lays out the way we think it's going to lay out. Welcome back into the Sports Bar, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, the Patriots' schedule is really easy, like comically easy the rest of the way through this season. So, yeah, I think we all thought yesterday the Patriots saw it as a measuring stick game, which is kind of weird. You always kind of hear teams say it's not a measuring stick. We're going out there to win. For the Bills, it was a chance to seemingly put the division kind of on easy street, and that wasn't the case of what happened. That was a prime example of the Patriots playing smart football. They were the better team last night. They really were. And give credit where it's due. Drake May outplayed Josh Allen yesterday. Yeah. Doesn't mean he's the better quarterback. Doesn't mean he's going to take over the division. Last night he played better.
Well, Dan, if you go back over the last 2 weeks, I mean, the Saints with a chance to go ahead before the Bishop interception. The Dolphins, like they handed that on a silver platter. I mean, how much of this is – I'm going to ask the question. I never thought, are we overrating the Buffalo Bills?
I don't know if overrating it. And honestly, like my thoughts on this team haven't really changed after this loss. And I mean that in the sense of, look, I thought this team has its flaws. And while at times, we kind of joked around, our Bills fans spoiled. They're 4-0. And why are we complaining about a 11-point win over the Saints? Like, come on. And it was like, hey, we're just like, being real, like there are issues with this team, and let's not be naive to that fact of this team is their goal isn't to make the playoffs. That's not what it is. That's not where they are in this McDermott, Brandon Beane, Josh Allen era. It's are you good enough to win a Super Bowl? Period. That's it. It's not are you good enough to win a division? They know all of those things. So to sit here and kind of say like are they overrated? Well, it's tough to win in the NFL, to take a coaching cliche. And the Bills had done enough of the simple things right. And last night they couldn't line up correctly. They couldn't do anything offensively. They were really bad in the first half. They were pretty good defensively in the first half, which was kind of encouraging to see. But just too many penalties at the end. And I thought Sean McDermott summed it up best when he said, we played the game they wanted us to play. And that is a Mike Vrabel staple. He talks about it every week, gives his team 3 things that they're going to need to do to win the game. And it was force some turnovers, don't turn the ball over, and control the offense. And I thought they did a really good job at that.
The Bills didn't have any answer for Stephon Diggs. And as I was watching the game and watching Diggs perform still at a high level post-ACL, a couple of years removed from his time in Buffalo, I couldn't help but think of the talent versus culture debate that has gone on for as long as Sean McDermott has been the head coach of this team. Do the Bills have somebody other than Josh Allen and James Cook that teams have to game plan for? They don't. It doesn't feel like they have a receiver like Diggs since they lost Diggs. And I know that everybody eats, but is that really the right when you need a play, when you gotta have it? Who's that guy for the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, they really don't have one. I guess the best is Khalil Shakir, but you saw last night, and everybody, I know it stings, right? And like that was everything for Diggs. Like that really was. And we were joking around the Buffalo Plus podcast at the end, and I was like, "Are there any Patriots fans watching this at the end of the video?" And I said, "Enjoy this." Like, enjoy this honeymoon phase. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't end well, but I go, you're gonna enjoy this. But that was the thing, is that when it's a 3rd and 9, who is the go-to guy? Because last night, when it got into that second half, when it was 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 9, I was like, well, Josh is going to have to run for this because you just don't have guys that separate. That was the one thing. I'm not sitting there saying, oh, like, this is no hit the panic button. Like, to Gene's question, like, they're not – I don't think they're overrated or anything like that. But it is frustrating that you saw this loss felt like some of those losses you have felt in the postseason, when it feels like the offense just doesn't have it. Like when the running game isn't perfect and you have penalties and you get behind chains and all these kind of things, and you happen to turn the ball over and the ball doesn't bounce back up to you, things go south. It is kind of baffling to me, I guess I'll say, is that we're at this point and the Bills are still trying to find a number one wide receiver, or how about this, a wide receiver that can separate. We'll say that. They're still trying to figure out answers at the cornerback 2 position, and they're still trying to figure out if they can get a consistent pass rush. Those are things that we just have not been able to be ironed out over the last 2 years. I think that's maybe the most frustrating thing, as you saw Stephon Diggs be that go-to guy, that Drake May, those gotta-have-it's. That was just a dog. Like, he was just a man saying, guys, I got it. Throw me the ball. The Bills don't really have that.
I'm wondering, can they go get it though? It's like, and you're right. Like Palmer, Palmer's another 5 and dime guy, just kind of a back end 4 or 5. I don't think Keon Coleman is going to develop at least not right now, into this A.J. Brown sort of physical guy that is going to muscle his way. So should the Buffalo Bills be going after it? Because there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to determine, hey, we're out of this, whether you poke Cincinnati in the ribs maybe, or maybe you're looking at New Orleans. Like Dan, the trade deadline is not that far off.
Yeah, I really do think that Trey Hendrickson will end up being a Buffalo Bill. Like, it just makes sense that if the Bengals can save a little bit of money, their season's a total wash. I don't know if Rashid Shaheed is that much of an upgrade at the wide receiver position, so I don't really know.
Olave.
Olave, okay. Yeah, I can see Olave. I just don't know. Like, this is one of those weird games where, and it's kind of what I've wondered about. Like, we've seen Keon have some, have week 1 and kind of has been cooled off since. Like, that was a game where the Patriots have 2 really good man corners, and they just say, you got this guy, I got this guy, we're playing 9-on-9 football, right? And they don't have the guys to separate. Now, Dalton Kincaid was winning his one-on-ones. Josh said that after the game. That was awesome to see. But besides that, you didn't really have it. And the Patriots played a lot of man coverage, which is something that teams have gotten away from over the last few years against the Bills, because when defenders turn their backs to run with the wide receivers or tight ends, that means they're not looking at Josh Allen and he takes off. They did a pretty good job of containing him and spying him. So, like, that's where you kind of got to tip your cap to the Patriots and Vrabel and saying, like, man, Milton Williams is pretty good. Like, the D-line did its job. So I don't know if this means you rip the whole offensive philosophy up. We don't have guys. We just can't get it done. I'm just as concerned and frustrated. I mean, how long have I been coming on the sports bar and banging the drum that they need to go get a wide receiver in the first round? Yeah. I think I even joked around this year. I just didn't have it in me, that I've just been broken so many times of thinking that they could go get a wide receiver to be a big difference maker. But I do think that, like, it's just a bad night. Like, Josh played poor. He wasn't sharp. He got banged up. And it was just kind of one of those games where everything kind of felt off.
Well, knowing that the sun did come up this morning after a Bills loss, is it just a way to cope to say that the only team that can beat the Buffalo Bills is the Buffalo Bills? I mean, they beat themselves last night.
Yeah. It's funny. I go back and I keep thinking about this game and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, did they lose by 20? You're like, no, it was a field goal at the end.
Yeah.
And there was part of me that was like, they're going to win this game. Like, this rookie's not going to make this kick. And then we're going to go to overtime, and Josh is going to win, and we're going to have this conversation of, well, they're 5-0, but they didn't really play well. Like, I really thought that was how this was going to end. So, yeah, it is what it is. Like, I do think, like, so uncharacteristic about lining up and the fumbles and just Josh forcing that pass to Shakir. And I will say this, bad game by Joe Brady, and I love Joe Brady. Like, I'm a big Joe Brady fan, but send the Dawson Knox jet sweep play into the sun, and we don't need to run trick plays. It needs to be more handoffs to James Cook and less to Ray Davis. Because, honestly, I like Ray Davis. Really great guy. Last year, he had a nice role with this offense. It's a waste of a play right now, handing the ball off to Ray Davis. You might as well spike it and take the 45 seconds to catch your breath because it's just not a productive play. So I thought Joe Brady got away from himself last night where, I know they weren't great at running the ball, but 13 carries in a game that was close throughout. Like, they were never down 17 points to abandon the run. And James Cook is still the best player on your offense that doesn't wear number 17. I thought he just outcoached himself and outthought himself against New England there.
Yeah, I mean, there was one little comment from McDermott in the postgame last night saying
cute.
It's cute, right? That he's talking about Brady, right? I go back to the Ravens, loss in the regular season last year. There's that dumb trick play, and who knows if the Bills would have had momentum had they not called that. So this is kind of our expectation. We're just going to put all the trick plays on ice because if that's the case, Dan, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. I'm totally fine. And, like, that's the thing. What I've loved about Joe Brady is that, like, I think he learned so much from his failure with the Saints. I really do. Like, just how south that went. And he talks about the Bills will run the same play 5-6 times in a row. Like they will just Xerox it and just be like, we're going to run it again. And, like, we're going to run it until you prove to us that you can stop it. And I didn't think they gave that a chance last night. I thought they got away from their bread and butter. I know New England has a really good rushing defense, through 4 weeks, whatever you want to take with that. Obviously, part of that is opponent base. But I thought they got away from that, and that was kind of disappointing when, you don't have guys that are getting open down the field. That's the one flaw. And no offense is perfect. Like, let's not sit here and say, like, every offense is flawless. Like, the Bills' big flaw is that they do not have a downfield threat, really. Like, they don't. Josh Palmer's not that guy. You're trying to figure out what Curtis Samuel's role is in this offense. You're trying to kind of piece all this together. They're still a pretty good offense. They still have Josh Allen. And I just think that wasn't Joe Brady's finest moment.
And then on the defensive side of the ball, Trey White exposed. I think we've seen enough out of Trey White to know that he's not the player that we remember him from earlier in his career, which you can't really fault him. I mean, he's being forced in there because you have an injury to a rookie that you were expecting to be a contributor early on. The player I want to focus in on, because last night the Bills' pass rush was improved. They got after it. 4 sacks, 8 quarterback hurries, but there was one player who wasn't a part of that party, and he's on the field a lot. And I think we know now what we need to know and we've seen what we need to see to make a fair assessment of what the Bills have in Joey Bosa. I don't think it's much, Dan.
I haven't seen him since the Jets game. I really haven't. And it's funny. I think some of those stats were a little bit misleading. I think May ran himself into some sacks. Like the Shaq Thompson one was going to go down as a sack. I don't think they affected him as much as what the numbers may say. I thought Greg Rousseau had a couple of nice moments, but also doesn't it always feel like so close. Like that's what the Bills defensive line is like. Even when they have a good game, it's so close. How does Daquan Jones not get Drake May to the ground there?
Right.
On that last drive. Like, that's the kind of thing. So you can sit there, right, Danger? We can go quarterback pressure. pretty nice. Like, you got to get him down. I that's what's so infuriating and so frustrating to watch as a Bills fan, where it's like, guess what? New England's offensive line stinks, and you still really weren't affecting the game enough. And I'm not making excuses for Trey White. He just seems like a guy that does not want to get beat deep, so everything is getting caught right in front of him. But I don't think the pass rush is doing anybody in the secondary any help. I don't think Christian Benford has looked as good as what we had hoped and what we saw in training camp. So it's been a revolving sad door for sure in this Bills secondary.
Yeah, funny, like last night, the one concern I had is, all right, the Patriots don't have like a true number one running back, but they have pieces, and they really didn't play a big part. Oh, boy, you're going to Atlanta coming up Monday night. And
I know.
Personnel-wise, Dan,
I hate it.
I'm a little concerned about Milano here at this point. Was that I guess we'll learn here. Was that a flare-up, or is this something much worse? In terms of his pack, not having what's going on with Dorian Williams. I mean, if you're down those two guys and you're facing Bijan Robinson, that's a concern.
Yeah, it really is. Look, Shaq Thompson can play a little bit. Look, he may not be the fastest guy out there, but he ain't afraid to hit anything. So that's a nice find. The Matt Milano stuff is. It's sad. Like, you're seeing a guy whose body has just failed him. It's kind of what it feels like watching this guy try and go out there and give it his all, and just soft tissue injuries and all this stuff. It sucks. I don't know what the rest of his career looks like, because he's not really a guy that they can, seemingly depend on. Is Joe Andreessen going to have to get more snaps? Or do you call up A.J. Klein? Like, do you still got his number? Like, where are we at? Like,
hey, we got Jimmy Charlo on the 53 now. We're all fine.
Like I said, at this point, has A.J. Klein blocked Bean's number? Like, that's the question that needs to be asked. Like, just let me go on vacation. But yeah, this Atlanta matchup. Look, I still don't know what I think about Michael Penix and all those things, but it's a tough spot going to Atlanta on Monday night, a team coming off a bye. And Gene, it's not just Bijan who I think could embarrass the Bills defense if they don't get things straightened out. It's also Drake London. Like, this is an offense that can pack a punch, and that worries me. I know the Bills are 4.5-point favorites, and we'll see how that goes. And that's a game they should win. They're the better team. They have the better coach. They have the better quarterback, and that usually is who should win games in the NFL. But Bijan, Drake London, even Kyle Pitts to some respects, worries me and can give this Bills defense problems if they don't address things, if they don't get pressure on Penix. It could be a long night in Atlanta.
Dan Fates, 13 WAM Sports, Buffalo Plus, our guest in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia. When you look around the rest of the NFL, though, Dan, do you get the sense that what we've seen out of the Bills' opponents so far make them look better than their record or worse than their record? Because that Ravens win, based on what the Ravens look to be this season, shouldn't have been as dramatic and last second and close as it should have been.
Yeah, but Danger, that's tough because, like, they're decimated right now. And now they don't have Lamar, and the whole season is spiraling because of that Bills game. Like, it is partly it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And they played a fully healthy Baltimore Ravens team that was really good. So I don't think that people should be able to discredit that win when they look now at Baltimore at 1-4 and go, oh, the Bills, the combined records for the teams they beat is really bad. And you're like, okay, well, the Saints may be starting to put something together. They don't look as bad. And the Jets and Dolphins are comical. We'll leave it at that.
Sure.
But I still don't think that you can knock. This isn't like college football where, like, you're going to go back and see, like, that Clemson week 1 loss to LSU and have LSU, like, that's going to hurt their resume kind of thing. I still think that was an impressive win in that spot. But, look, the AFC now, it's weird. Like, the Chargers seem like they're taking on water with all the injuries that they have had. The Patriots now kind of seem to have life. I don't buy the Steelers at all at 3-1, but they're a team that's up there. So, a lot of way to go, though, guys. That's for sure.
Dan, let me just switch gears with you. I got one name Ernie Clement, all right, so your team is out, my team is out. We can root for the Rochester guy.
When did your team go out? When were they out of it?
Well, they were in it much longer than your team, but
right.
I don't want to get get off the topic here.
Right. No. Yeah. All right. Yeah. We'll stay on topic because I want to talk about Ernie. You're right.
Yeah. Talk about Ernie. Like
he's the best.
He's the best. Did you ever play against him? I'm trying to timeline this up. Did you play against him?
No. So he was a freshman when I was a senior, and I don't believe we played him at Brighton. He was also a hell of a hockey player. Like, Ernie is a +3 handicap at golf. He is
this guy.
The best.
Hate this guy.
And he's, like, genuinely nice.
Ugh.
Like, I don't mean to be that guy, but I will, just to preface and put into context how great of a guy Ernie Clement is. Whenever he has a walk-off hit, I shoot him a text and say, congrats, dog, that was awesome, things like that. And he always responds like 3 minutes after the game. Like, that was the coolest moment ever. Ernie's been battling the flu the last 2 days, obviously battled through it. And I asked him how he was feeling yesterday, and he said home runs home runs help. Like, what a moment in that spot. That place was rocking. Here's a guy that has just scratched and clawed and earned everything that he's gotten from the way that he plays literally every position on the field, his toughness, doesn't strike out, and has added pop to his bat. I mean, he's a guy that I would love the Braves to have, and I would hate if he was on the Mets. So that's the type of guy that, like, is a true blue guy. Awesome. Could not be happier for Ernie as well as the Blue Jay fans, because, look, they got something going on there. There's something brewing in Toronto, and it's fun.
Funny considering how their season ended that they can just pick it up, right? Just pick it up and explode. Yeah, absolutely.
Same with Detroit.
Yeah.
They blow the lead. They have to go to Cleveland. They win that series. All is forgotten, and you're moving on.
Dan, what are you, Jenna, and Mike working on at Buffalo Plus so we can check out here leading up to next Monday night against the Falcons?
Yeah, we did our recap from the game yesterday. Mike, Jen, and I, our thoughts on just too many mistakes is pretty much how it is. Josh called it a piss poor performance offensively. We recap that game. I'm going to catch up with somebody, a sports reporter, Allison Mastriano. She's a sports reporter down in Atlanta. We will preview that. We'll have that coming out later this week. We also have our Thursday live show this week. We'll be at Riverworks in Buffalo. 5 to 7 meet and greet, live podcast to follow if you can't make it. It's on the YouTube channel. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And then Mike and I are going to Atlanta. This was one of my first picks that Jenna actually gave me in the travel draft because I was hoping. I've been so kind.
He's just a misfit. I don't know why he does this to our guests.
What? I mean, you wanted to go see playoff baseball. I'm sure that was part of the plan, right, Dan?
Yeah, when I did the draft in May, there was the thought that, do you know we played like 97 players, Gene?
Don't fall into it. Don't fall into it. You're falling right into it, Dan. Don't let him. Don't give him the satisfaction.
You're right, Danger. I'm better than he is. I'm above him.
That's right. There you go.
Not a low-life Mets fan.
Dan, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate you.
You guys are the best. Have a good one.
Yeah, there's Dad Fates. Yeah, you baited him. He was starting to take it. I can't have this. He's a frequent guest.
I just cut to the chase. Like, sorry, it didn't go according to your plan. Yeah, I could have been nice to be like, hey, get you some playoff tickets there.
This guy's talking over here. He's got, you're riding a wave because you were right on your prediction for the Buffalo Bills. Let me knock you down a peg, pal, because one of us is advancing in Survivor football. One of us.
Can we just – and look, ultimately I didn't pick the right team. Can we acknowledge that was one of the dumbest losses in the NFL in recent history? What Arizona did?
They were just showing the highlights, the lowlights of that game. I mean, you got the ball bouncing all over the place off of Kyler Murray's face mask, DeMarcado letting go of the ball before. 2 weeks in a row we've had that happen, by the way. Can we get a coach to tell the guys, hey, run the football through the first half of the end zone before you let it go or give it to the official? What are we doing?
So the Titans then, Cam Ward throws a pick in the red zone. and the Cardinals begin to return it, and then, it's stripped. Now the ball is loose, and another Cardinal trying to recover it somehow bats it backwards like 10 yards into the end zone, and the Titans fall on it for a touchdown. Like, when I saw that, I'm like, this is just perfect.
Yeah,
This is
yakety sacks
perfect. Yeah.
happening in real life. That was ridiculous. We'll review, and tomorrow we'll give our official pick here in the sports.
No. There's no audio from Tuesday. So.
Oh, you think that we didn't roll the tape?
No, we didn't roll the tape.
We always roll the tape, Gino. Ryan Talbot also stopping by the sports bar to talk more Bills. Coming up in the next hour here on The Fan Rochester.
Rochester Sports Update.
It's the first Monday where we're not saying Victory Monday here in West New York. The Bills with loss number 1, and it was to that team and that guy. Stephon Diggs gets the win in his return.
I was excited. I kind of spoke on it a little bit for being nostalgic, doing a drive-in. Came in a different interest this time, but, I was happy about it, and I just was happy to be back playing football. It's easy to get kind of lost in the moment while you're out there, but just try to remain focused the whole time and, be there for my teammates.
Ryan Talbot, NewYorkUpstate.com, and the Shout podcast will join us later this hour. Monday Night Football tonight has the Chiefs and Jaguars in Jacksonville. You do have baseball tonight in the 6 o'clock hour. Dodgers in Philadelphia, Blake Snell against Jesus Luzardo. L.A. up 1-0. Cubs looking to go up 2-0 on Milwaukee. Shohei Imanaga against Andy Ashby. It's actually Milwaukee up 2-0 on the Brew. G. Battaglia, the Fan, Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Sloppy, sorry.
Gino, if you could have a mulligan,
yeah.
would you take a mulligan on that last update, or would you take a mulligan on your Survivor pick from last Tuesday?
No, we don't need to be reviewing that. That was Tuesday. That's old news. I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, and it's such a lovely sight to see. It's a win, my lord, and we're going to climb on in. So take a look at me. Come on, baby. Give me some poppers. Kyler Murray's driving the train. Take it easy. I make no sense at all. Arizona is your Week 5 winner. Tennessee is trash. Book it now. We violate no rules here. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Wow. I like that you mixed in some poppers. We had some jalapeno poppers in your pick. Your rendition.
Little Kyle Murray with his,
Yep. And
little
maybe,
waiter there.
Maybe those chilies are fresh in Arizona. A little bit more fresh at the Applebee's there. Arizona.
Thanks, Dandalorian. Thanks, Danger.
If
you get concussed by taking a snap to the face, what are we doing?
I was over here meekly suggesting we break a rule and take Detroit over Cincinnati.
All right. Well, congrats. Here, I'll do this. There's the key.
All right.
The bit's yours.
All right.
You now get to pick. There's nothing more devastating than going out in Survivor football, because guess what? That's it.
You're done.
You're done. You don't get to play until
you don't want
next
to do
year.
a second chance pool?
No. Cannon's going to be gone.
That was humiliating.
That is terrible.
Yeah, that was humiliating all around.
And then, is it a good thing or a bad thing? I've seen both reactions to this. So, DeMercado, holy mackerel. If you haven't seen this, he's running to the end zone, and he's just going to do the little flip thing that A.D. Mitchell did, except he flipped it before he crossed the goal line.
It's the same thing. 2 weeks in a row. Did anybody see the A.D. Mitchell play from last week and use that as a teachable moment in their locker room and say, guys?
I would think that Sean McDermott should just, if he didn't do it last week, look at this, look at that.
This is punishable by death. You are dead. You are dead to me as a player if you give up a touchdown by letting go of the ball in celebration before you cross the goal line.
So Gannon, after this happens, and there's an offensive lineman who has his arm around DeMercado as if he's consoling him, because he probably feels like, maybe you probably feel horrible. You just turned the ball over when you shouldn't have. Gannon is losing his mind on the sideline. Mind you, this isn't high school football. These are paid professionals. So I'll ask you the question, Deja, because I've seen both sides to this. Do you think that's a good thing that you have a head coach that is doing that? Or, hey, you know what? Maybe keep your emotions in check and just kind of go for the next play. And duly noted, you're losing time because you're a professional and you're not doing your job.
I think it depends on the individual and the situation. I don't want to paint with a broad brush when we're talking about this because you can see it work negatively or positively, depending on who you're talking to and who you're delivering that message to. Last night, Ramondre Stevenson had a bad fumble, and they went back to him, and he didn't fumble the ball again, and he got in the end zone a couple times. So he was a big part of that. But Vrabel, good head coach, knew how to deal with his guy, and instead of benching him, he basically said, hey, there's a lot of game left to be played. We're going to get that back. I don't know the relationship between Gannon and DeMarcado. So maybe DeMarcado is the kind of player that needs an earful to get motivated, to not make that mistake happen ever again. So I don't want to say that what Gannon did was wrong. I would imagine that if I was in Gannon's shoes, I would have a real hard time not blowing up on that player. That would be a real hard thing for me to do, but I'm not Gannon. And, Shane Steichen, how did he react last week when it happened to his player, and A.D. Mitchell? Did he set him aside and say, have a seat, you're done? We're moving off of you? I think you have to kind of manage your way through that, and I think everybody is different. So maybe Gannon knows DeMarcado needs to hear it. He needs an earful for this to resonate with him, or he's completely out of touch and looks like a fool by blowing up in front on the sideline in front of the entire team. But that can't happen. It shouldn't happen in consecutive weeks in the NFL. These are professional athletes.
That's the shock. There's with Tennessee winning now, there's only one winless team left in the NFL.
Oh, never change. The Jets are so bad. How were they favored going into that game against Dallas?
I don't know. I have no idea. Because we're looking at Dallas's defense and Cowboy fans are being emotional. Now they get to go across the pond and face Denver.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, Denver, I don't think is going to take them lightly after beating Philadelphia. Denver doesn't even go back. They just kind of go across the pond now. Yeah, I'm like, okay, great. We get Denver only favored by 7.5, but
the Jets now with Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn, I'm sure, is an awesome dude and a good coach. I didn't like the hire. I didn't like him as the DC in Detroit. I thought he was a good DC, but not a great DC. I think that defense, he got a lot out of that defense, considering that they were banged up a lot of the time that he was there.
He got hired. A big part of it was that he was a former Jet.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're getting hired because you're willing to take this job. This is the worst start for any first-year Jets head coach in franchise history.
I saw that stat. Adam Gase was the last guy to go 0-4.
And he looked like he murdered pets. Aaron Glenn, all he does is dance on the sideline when he thinks he has a win against the Buccaneers. You know what? I feel bad because much like we saw with Robert Saleh, I think we're seeing it now with Aaron Glenn. This franchise sucks the life out of you. And if a buddy who is a Jets fan in one of my threads talking about how he can't believe that the Jets are winless given how efficient Justin Fields has been. I'm like, are you watching the games? Justin Fields, I think, has 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in the 4 games that he's played in.
All right, but subtract that opening game against the Steelers, though.
I would just say, if you watch Justin Fields, and I watched him for years in Chicago, you see what I think everybody kind of knows. Great athlete, good at improvising, always off script, cannot anticipate anything, and can't read. Can't read defenses. He's gun shy. He can't release. So, and that's the guy that you thought was going to be your savior.
Well, no, and the future is I really see Aaron Glenn being a one and done.
Oh,
well, follow me on this. If you're a Jet fan, you probably hate watching your team. Yeah, you want to see them win, but if they lose to Denver, it's not the worst thing in the world. You need a quarterback. You're going to be in a prime position. We went through this in Buffalo how many years? You don't want to be the team picking 12, 13, 14. Just go ahead and lose. And the Jets are going to lose enough, so at least they're in the conversation. Let's just say top 5. But this is the basic thing now. If you're a defensive coordinator, you better be damn good and have knowledge on the other side. And do you want Aaron Glenn kind of, or whoever is going to be running the office next year for the Jets? Because I'm sure everything is going to get, if Glenn does come out, it should be an attractive job if a coach were something, whether that's a collegiate coach or you're picking a hot coordinator like Joe Brady. Would Joe Brady want that job with the Jets?
I would hope not. When you look around the league, too, you see guys that have a resume struggling with dysfunctional organizations. How are you if you're Pete Carroll? The Raiders are still the Raiders. Pete Carroll can't fix the Raiders.
That was shocking how they got blown out yesterday. I thought but it's Geno at the end of the day. You can only do so much with a guy. But that was the guy you chose, though.
You have Kenny Pickett behind Geno Smith. Is it Kenny Pickett time? It's probably Kenny Pickett time, right? But to Pete Carroll, you think, all right, this guy's never had a season start the way this season has started. Are you surprised? It's the Raiders. It's the Jets. We're talking about the Dolphins. We're talking about dysfunctional organizations. The Dolphins losing to Carolina. Like, this is not, it shouldn't be surprising.
So I will give this guy credit because he has Rochester roots. You will see this on your feed if you haven't from the Panthers-Dolphins game. It's like the second coming of Gus Johnson. Eric Collins. Eric Collins called Rochester Red Wings baseball. This is like in the 90s. I was running the board with him back then. He's worked his way up at Fox, and when you hear him with these touchdown calls of Dolphins and Panthers, like, yeah, this sounds like Gus 2.0, what he's reinvented himself when it comes to touchdowns and screaming. And
so he's getting after it with a little enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's right. It's football. Have some fun.
I agree.
But to your point about the Dolphins, yeah, like who's going to be the next coach fired?
In season.
Yeah. The first one, yeah.
It could be McDaniel. Could be McDaniel. So tomorrow at this time, I will give you. You know what? Feel free to jump on board. I will give you your winner for week 6. Week 6.
You correctly said don't do that, and you said you so many words. Your rules are made to be broken, which you proved to be correct. Now I have to sit here and just kind of watch, just like I have to sit here and listen to baseball fans all excited and everybody all happy. And
just as a reminder, the teams that we can't choose tomorrow: Denver, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, Detroit. With that in mind, I will give you your week 6 winner so you can advance in your survivor pool tomorrow at this time. And we're going to look at the rules, Gino. We're going to review. We'll do the same routine. We are not going to deviate from the routine. You're looking at the schedule?
There's 2 that jump out at me. Colts at home against the Cardinals. Now the Cardinals, it's such a bad loss. Maybe there's some concern. 2 coming off a bye, Green Bay against Cincinnati. Are you going to identify Cincinnati as the team that we pick on? Green Bay, do you know this line? They're 14.5.
Yeah, it's a lot.
14.5.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a pro team going against a JV team. That's fishy.
To me, it's like it's not a lot of suspense.
That's Green Bay at home as well, if I'm not mistaken. They're at Lambeau. Yeah. We'll give that pick tomorrow at this time. We're going to be joined in a few minutes. Ryan Talbot, NewYorkUpstate.com, Syracuse.com. He covers the Buffalo Bills, and we'll continue to recap on a blame assessment Monday where the Buffalo Bills fall from the ranks of the undefeated and lose to the New England Patriots, of all teams, last night during a whiteout. And I know we mentioned this when Tim from San Diego called. God, whiteouts are dumb. I'm over the whiteout. When was the last time a whiteout did anything other than look cool on TV? It doesn't give you any competitive advantage. It doesn't give the team any competitive. When have they won anything? When have the Winnipeg Jets or the Arizona Coyotes win anything when they were doing the whiteouts in the NHL? Never. Penn State, stay down.
Was surprised just how many people participated.
Everybody.
Yeah.
It was great. It looked great on TV. Did they get the win? No. No more whiteouts. I'm done with whiteouts. No more. It's cute. It's a cute TV gimmick. Does nothing for your team. Don't need it. Just show up and be a fan. Show up, be a fan. Be rowdy. Don't worry about what you have to wear to look good on TV. When is the last time a whiteout guaranteed a win for anybody? Never. Doesn't do it.
Yeah, Bills got down by 2 scores. I didn't see too many people leaving last night.
No.
That was pretty good.
They had a lead. They had a lead in the second half. I mean, it's another one of those games where it's maddening, but comforting in knowing that you beat yourself. That it wasn't necessarily New England they were better last night than the Buffalo Bills, but you beat yourself.
But there are problems. I wish I could tell you how you fix corner 2. We like Tre'Davious White. Maxwell Hairston, you don't know if he's going to be available at all this year. And when he comes in, how much are you really giving him? Oh, and we didn't talk much about this. Hey, Dorian Strong goes on injured reserve. Well, that's fantastic. And there's a neck injury. So what injured reserve means, okay, 4 weeks minimum, and then you don't need to know anything beyond that. So unless this is coming from his agent, my concern is, oh, gosh, I hope he can at least continue his career. And funny, he got 15 snaps in the win over the Saints. Did that injury happen then? And that was they had to put Trey White in because, I thought it was just we're going to give Strong a little bit of a taste. They have a problem there. The pass rush has been wildly inconsistent, and you saw more last night of A.J. Epineza over Joey Bosa. That might be a reason why things haven't been where they should be.
Right. The pass rush was there last night. They got him down 4 times, but those sacks are kind of a little deceiving. But you didn't get May really down. I mean, even the Daquan Jones play where May makes this.
How?
Yeah.
How?
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we used to see Josh Allen do and marvel at. And for that Patriot fan, you're excited today because he played better than Josh Allen. I didn't see Drake May throw in a red zone pick last night in Orchard Park. And so they'll learn from this. They'll get better and obviously try to clean it up in time for next Monday when they have to travel to Atlanta. The thing that makes me nervous about Atlanta is just Atlanta has stars. They have good players.
Well, they have Robinson, Bijan Robinson. I can believe he goes by the pronunciation now. I'm concerned because who's going to be at linebacker? I like Shaq Thompson, but no Milano perhaps. Dorian Williams, we don't know.
It's got to be Shaq Thompson. Yeah. If you put Andreessen out there, he's going to get chewed up. I mean, love Buffalo Joe, love the story, love all it represents. But from a size standpoint, Bijan will run him over every which way but Sunday.
So McDermott's speaking right now, and at least this is something positive where he can't tell you too much about Matt Milano, but they're not considering injured reserve right now. He's week to week with the Pack. So,
I mean, even when he was out there, Gino, he looks a little bit sluggish. He looks a little bit slow. I know a lot of people will believe that he is the straw that stirs the Bills' defense drink, but maybe we're looking at it wrong. Maybe it is the loss of Ed Oliver. If Ed Oliver returns, does everything kind of change when Ed Oliver returns? I don't know.
Yeah, and then here's something else, too, and credit guys like Mike Catalano that are picking this up last night. Keon Coleman was not out there the first series. McDermott just now confirming that was a disciplinary reason that Keon Coleman did not start last night. And when asked if he's disappointed, McDermott would only say yes.
Yeah. Great. Fan-freaking-tastic.
Well, see, this is the talent versus culture. We need more out of Coleman. Yes, he had a touchdown last night. But at this point, I'm sorry.
I don't think he's ever going to be what we think he could be. If what you're expecting out of Keon Coleman is what we saw the Patriots do with Steph Diggs last night or what the Bills did for years with Steph Diggs, I don't think he's ever going to achieve that.
No, I don't think he's that guy, but I think he's the guy in third where, and you saw it for one play, okay, here, go get it, boom. Okay, you're covered? No, You're not. I want to see more of that.
Yep. Don't know that he's capable of being the guy that Diggs is. Diggs, the separator. Diggs, I mean, just embarrassing Trey White. That's elder abuse. It shouldn't happen. Trey White just looking lost and Diggs running circles around him. It was eye-opening. Let's get Talbot's take on last night's loss. Assess a little bit of blame. Look ahead to a week from tonight when the team travels south to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Ryan Talbot, New York Upstate, and the Shout Podcast joining us next on The Fan Rochester.
Sports update.
Buffalo Bills are their first loss of the season, their first home loss in the regular season since November of 2023. Josh Allen says, yeah, it's on them.
We just played sloppy. Not going to win a football game, turning the ball over 3 times in our red zone. Gave them one in their red zone. That's just bad football, and we just did not play good tonight.
Ryan Talbot, NewYorkUpstate.com, and the Shout Podcast joins us next here in the Sports Bar. Monday Night Football wraps up Week 5. It's the Chiefs and Jaguars in Jacksonville. You've got baseball counter-programming tonight in the 6 o'clock hour. Dodgers in Philadelphia, LA up 1-0. Blake Snell against Jesus Luzardo. Cubs in Milwaukee. Shohei Imanaga against Aaron Ashby. Brewers looking to get to 2-0 in that series. Yankees and Jays tomorrow night. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Neat or on the rocks? It's the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Blame Assessment Monday in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. Bills fall to the Patriots on Sunday night. We welcome in Ryan Talbot, NewYorkUpstate.com. Ryan, I just keep trying to tell myself that the only team that can beat the Buffalo Bills is the Buffalo Bills. However, seeing some of the highlights last night, watching Drake May do some of the things he did last night, boy, that sure felt a lot like what we saw out of 17 as he was coming up in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. The one play that sticks in your mind is Daquan Jones just hanging on him, looking like he's going to get a big sack, and he just kind of heaves it. You think it's a throwaway. No, it's going to Stephon Diggs down the sidelines, and then Diggs takes it for a nice gain. So little plays like that, the escapability, rolling to his right, what we saw all night from him, some ability with his legs, although he didn't really show that much against the Bills. He only had 12 yards rushing, but there's a lot to his game that's very similar to Josh Allen.
Yeah, Ryan, it kind of puts into focus, too, the Bills' receiving core. And we're getting word here that Keon Coleman wasn't out there the first series. Sean McDermott just confirming this now. For disciplinary reasons, it's a little bit of a wrinkle here. Do the Bills need a separator if they want to get to where ultimately they want to a championship? Because last night I think puts it in the context a little like, oh, Diggs, yeah, I kind of remember that happening on the Buffalo Bills. Your thoughts on the Bills' receiving core?
Yeah, it wasn't good enough. You watched the game last night. The only one that was getting clear separation and man defense was Dalton Kincaid. You weren't getting enough from the other guys. And, you know, some of that may have had to do with Sean McDermott said there was some stuff that the Patriots hadn't shown in their coverage on tape that they did to the Bills, and that kind of hurt some of the routes that they were running. But at the end of the day, they brought in Joshua Palmer to be a separator. He made one nice play early in the game, but really didn't do much after that point. Curtis Samuel was given a decent amount of money last year in free agency to do the same thing. He's been inactive a lot, injuries galore. And then you have, you know, Keon Coleman, he's not a separator. Tyrell Shavers is not a separator. And Khalil Shakir can separate, but that's not necessarily the strongest asset that he brings to the table.
So, Ryan, is it too late for the Bills to reverse course here? I mean, they're in the everybody eats mentality, but it's a little staggering when you recognize what Diggs was able to do, what Diggs did when he was with Buffalo, and realize that really outside of James Cook and Josh Allen, if you're an opposing defense, you don't have to game plan for any of the receivers.
Yeah, you know, at the trade deadline, they could go out and they could make a move. They've done this the last few years at different positions. You look at a team like the New Orleans Saints that probably, definitely aren't going to make the playoffs, and they have a few decent wide receivers. Chris Olave makes a lot of sense in terms of his cap figure, and bringing him aboard. Rashid Shaheed is a speedster that you could bring in here if you like his game enough. So there are going to be players available. It's just how much do the Bills feel like they need to make a move for a player like that, where they might have needs at other positions on the defensive side of the ball that could be more pressing.
Wasn't the best of nights, at least comparatively speaking, for James Cook, 16 carries. My question isn't about Cook necessarily, though. It's about Ray Davis. What's going on here? Is it just, hey, he's not getting the work? Because when they do give him, I'm like, okay, this just doesn't this doesn't look right. Dare I say, because we see this happen sometimes with rookies, and then year number 2, it's just not the same. Do we have any concern about Ray Davis at this point?
Yeah, I absolutely do have some concerns there. And, I think your first point is very valid. He hasn't been given a lot of work in terms of carries every game, snaps every game. But when he is given that workload, he's not moving the ball very far. He's going down on first contact. And he lost about 15 pounds this offseason, trying to gain a little bit more explosiveness, he said, to his game. But I think that really worked against him. I think the Bills kind of liked that he brought a little bit of power to his game in short yardage situations and in other areas where he was a little bit more successful as a rookie, maybe bouncing off of contact. We have not seen that so far. And again, small sample size, but it's been very discouraging to say the least.
What do you make of Trey White's game at this point? And is there anything that the Bills can do opposite Christian Benford?
Yeah, the Bills, I feel like, are in trouble at cornerback. And, even Christian Benford, who I'm very high on, he has not had the best start to the 2025 season. He's been beaten quite a few times. Hasn't looked the same that he did last year, where he was pretty dominant all season long. But Trey White, it's just he's at that point in his career, unfortunately, where father time wins and he cannot keep up with some of these receivers. He was spun around last night by Stephon Diggs on one route. He was out of position a lot of the times, couldn't really track down the wide receivers, was trailing behind, trying to make plays. And for the Bills, though, they're in a really rough spot overall. Dorian Strong is going to see a specialist about his neck. Anytime that a neck injury, just one, pops up randomly in the middle of a week like it did last week, that's concerning. To be put on the IR days later is really concerning. So who knows if we're going to see him back this year. We know that they obviously invested a first-round pick in Max Hairston, but they're still not opening up his practice window. That they're left with some, below average options, including Jamarcus Ingram. And no knock on Ingram, but there's a reason why he's always kind of buried down this depth chart. They're going to have to really look into, is there anyone in free agency? And, a lot of fans roll their eyes when I mentioned Stephon Gilmore's name, and he's older, but he still played at a pretty good level last year. I think realistically they need to go out and make a Russell Douglas-like trade, not for Douglas, obviously, but find a cornerback at the trade deadline. That probably should be priority number one, especially the longer that this goes on with Max Hairston's window not opening.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Ryan Talbot, Shout Podcast, NewYorkUpstate.com, our guest here in the Sports Bar. And with Atlanta now on the horizon, and they have a running game. They have one of the best in Robinson down there. We learned today that Matt Milano will likely not be playing in this game either. Sean McDermott terming him week to week, but not saying that he'll go on IR. So I guess that's good. But not knowing Dorian Strong, your thoughts here about what the Bills are facing at that position, Ryan? I mean, is it Shaq Thompson? Are they trying Andreessen on the outside? What about Jimmy Charlo just kind of promoted here? What does this look like in terms of the linebackers going against one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL?
Yeah, it looks like a big concern. You mentioned it. Matt Milano, he's now 3 years running where he's been dealing with injuries. Unfortunately, too, he's kind of at the end of his game. But Buffalo is now left in a tough spot. Dorian Williams, he's day-to-day. Maybe he'll be back for the Atlanta game. We'll see. Obviously, Bernard will be starting at one spot. But after that, Shaq Thompson, I will say this. He has made an impact play or two every single game that he's been on the field. I had a lot of doubts when the Bills signed him this offseason in terms of his own injury history and missed time. But he has looked the part. He looks very comfortable in the system and scheme, and he can kind of fill in at least on a short-term basis. But then after that, it's a lot of relative unknowns. Joe Andreessen was a great story last year, makes the roster again this year, but we don't know what that's going to look like in extended reps. He only played 9 snaps yesterday. We know the coverage issues that he has, and Jimmy Charlo is truly an unknown. I mean, that was his first NFL action yesterday on special teams, and now all of a sudden he could be one injury away from having to play on defense.
I feel like we've seen a large enough sample size through 5 weeks to know what the Bills have in Joey Bosa. And I'm concerned, Ryan, that it's not enough and certainly not what you're paying him for.
Yeah, he has the flashes of the pressures and the sacks, but he's also been a little bit of a liability against the run. not doing his due diligence in that part. He's crashing in a lot, opening up the outside for a lot of these mobile quarterbacks, or even the run game if they can drop it off to the running back on certain plays. So you're not seeing what you wanted to see. You were hoping that a healthy Joey Bosa was going to be a double-digit sack type of player. And, there's still a lot of games left. Stranger things have happened, but he has not been consistent enough. You're finally starting to see some flashes from Greg Rousseau, but the edge position has once again been a big disappointment for this team.
Ryan, we're saying, we're going over, personnel and things that didn't go right. They only lost by 3 last night to the Patriots. But
yeah,
here's the crazy stat for the Patriots. We brought this up. Before last night, the last time they won back-to-back games, think of the year that the Bills had to move a game to the Browns and to Detroit. It was on that day when the Patriots last won back-to-back regular season games. So you're talking 3 years ago. You look at New England's schedule.
Cupcake.
Yeah. Are we this is a race now, is it not?
To me, it is. Now, you just mentioned it. This has not been a team that has been very consistent. I think that Mike Vrabel, though, is bringing in a whole different type of culture, and it certainly helps when you look at the schedule. They have the Saints up next. The Titans after that should be 2-0 in that area. The Browns defense, maybe they can, cause enough of a headache for Drake May and company. I liked what I saw to Dylan Gabriel, but that's a favorable matchup for New England. You have Atlanta, Buccaneers. They're a very feisty team. That could be an issue, but Jets, Bengals, Giants, then the Bills again, Ravens, which should have Lamar Jackson back at that point, Jets, Dolphins. That's a very favorable schedule for New England. And, if last night's win helps them build up some momentum, that is going to be a race here for a little bit. But you also mentioned it was a 3-point game at the end of the night. And if Josh Allen doesn't throw that interception in the red zone, there's your 3 points at least, kind of pressing, kind of throwing it behind Khalil Shakir. If the Bills recover Antonio Gibson's fumble on the kick return, you're talking about a whole different type of game. So the bounces didn't really go Buffalo's way last night. They lost the turnover differential. You're 1 or 2 plays away from that outcome being completely different.
So when you look around the rest of the AFC and you start to, connect some of these data points and what we're learning about teams, is there a team in the AFC, Ryan, that scares you? And I'm watching tonight just because I want to see, is Kansas City as good as they looked against the Ravens last week? Is Jacksonville as good as their record states? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a team that nobody predicted that could be contending for the 1 seed in the Indianapolis Colts. Is there a team that you've noticed or you've pegged as, that team could be a problem in the Bills' quest to get the number 1 seed?
Yeah, a little team called the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sure Bills fans are pretty familiar with them at this point in time. And, you mentioned it. Xavier Worthy comes back, and all of a sudden things are clicking for that offense. Tyquan Thornton all of a sudden is a good field stretcher for them. And, by the way, their best receiver, Rashee Rice, is going to be back in a few weeks. So, suddenly that looks like a potent offense again for Patrick Mahomes. I know they had their issues. I know that they started the season slow, but I like that team a lot. You've already kind of seen the Chargers falter in that division where they get that big head-to-head win in week 1. You think maybe this is the year that Harbaugh is going to have them, contending for the division. Now I'm questioning them. I do like the Denver Broncos still in that division too. So it'll be tough for them to maybe win the 1 seed. But we all know that they pose a threat and many problems for the Bills come playoff time.
Ryan, I want to take the conversation back to Diggs here, and this is going to be kind of a different approach to this question. When the Patriots came in, I read the Patriot book by Wickersham, and it was an era of Patriots football that warranted a book like that and the behind-the-scenes sort of stuff. I've said this not jokingly. I hope that your guy Matt Perino writes that sort of book, whether that's a decade or 2 from now on the Buffalo Bills and going through this era, because there's a lot of stories behind closed doors, whether they're small, like, hey, why did Keon Coleman get benched in that first series, or ones that are bigger. And when you go back to Diggs, and you and I and a lot of people, we've heard chatter, but it's nothing you really can report on because, well, for me personally, I don't want to get sued. But What do you think that book would be like? Like, how much do you think really went beyond that final year and a half for Diggs in Buffalo?
Yeah, I'm guessing there'd be some really, really good stories if you could get the confirmation there. It's pretty obvious that he was a headache for the team. He was a headache for Josh Allen. The relationship had run its course in Diggs' mind. And, when that happened, it definitely soured for him and for his time in Buffalo. And now he looks back on it seems like, and he reminisces about the good old days. But that's not how it ended. He's kind of maybe changed the narrative a little bit when he was talking about how last night was personal to him, where truly he's the one that worked his way out of Buffalo after getting a big extension and everything else. So, yeah, that could be a great story. I think there'd be a lot of interesting stories. I mean, you could look at the Kyer Elam decision in the draft and what came into that and everything. You mentioned Keon Coleman. This isn't the first time that he's been given disciplinary punishment, missing a series in a game. So, you do want to peel back the layers on that, and maybe in due time we'll be able to do so.
Culture or talent, Ryan? Which side do you come down on? Because it seems like McDermott has the culture thing down, and they've won a lot of football games with maybe less talented players. But wrapping it up and putting a bow on Steph Diggs and what we saw out of him last night in a new environment, it's hard to discount what a talent can actually mean for a team.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And if where I fall in, I still would go with culture over talent. We've seen a lot of super teams in the NFL. You could go back many, many years to the Philadelphia Eagles team that was on the cover of every magazine, and they ended up having that disappointing year that season. And other teams that have unlimited talent, but they just don't put it together. So I do still lean culture over talent, but the Bills do have a little bit of a talent problem right now. I think they're missing some star power. You go back and look at the Super Bowl appearance by Sean McDermott in Carolina. He had studs at all three levels on defense, and the Bills don't have that right now on their defense. They're missing that weapon for Josh Allen that Stephon Diggs was. Now, James Cook has really come along and become a giant weapon for this offense, but they're just missing something. And it gets tough when you're drafting late in round one every year and when you have limited resources because you're re-signing your own guys. It just feels like, eventually culture will run its course and you're going to have a rebuild or a soft reset, and you're going to look back at the missed opportunities.
Ryan, great stuff as always. What are you and Matt working on here this week leading up? Well, it's going to be a little odd, right? Because no practice on Wednesday with it being Monday night. So does your schedule at all change this week?
Yeah, a little bit. Matt and I are actually both going to Atlanta. So we'll be flying out on Saturday. We have a live show Sunday at the Whitehall Tavern, Bill's Backers Bar. So we are turning the page to Atlanta. Excited to cover that game. A ton of talent in Atlanta. You mentioned Bijan Robinson, obviously Drake London. Michael Penix has had an up and down year, but there's that, and I love their draft class this year on the defensive side of the ball. So it's going to be an interesting challenge for Buffalo.
Ryan, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the rest of your week. Safe travels to Atlanta.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Got it. There's Ryan Talbot, New York Upstate, Syracuse.com, where you can read his work or check him out on the Shot podcast with Matt Perino, who stops by the sports bar at his normal time tomorrow afternoon, right around 3:25.
Atlanta's a city I really don't know anything about. I've never been there.
I've been a couple of times.
Yeah.
No, I've been there once. I should say once. I've been there once, and I remember there's a lot of Peachtree streets, lots of Peachtree. Really good restaurant that I remember eating at, and I remember traffic was crazy. You had to take the train everywhere to avoid traffic.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of picture it being like Los Angeles of the South, the way they've kind of sprawled there a little bit, too.
Interesting.
With Cobb County and everything.
I think Los Angeles of the South, if you want to call it South, is Nashville. I think now Nashville has become Los Angeles of the South. And I think Atlanta is just, I think it has more of that old Southern charm, right? Like when you think of Georgia and you think of places like Savannah, they've got like Southern charm.
It's also a place from the outside where I just kind of view it where the NFL is not king, not by any stretch.
No.
Like the Falcons to me are this forgotten franchise in the NFL. Like, they've been to Super Bowls, one that didn't go really so well against the Patriots. But we're not – there aren't any displaced Falcon fans.
It's weird, right? Like, they'll support the Braves. They'll support the Falcons when the Falcons are good. I mean, like, fans will come out. They have been to Super Bowls. You mentioned it. Their MLS team used to draw – like, they would fill the Mercedes-Benz Dome with fans of their soccer team. Like, I think they come out and they'll support, but only if you're worth supporting. Like, I have a feeling that attendance figures for Braves games sharply declined with the team losing the way they lost this year, as opposed to years before where they were always kind of contending for World Series title. And I think the same could be said for the Falcons. And does that really make them much different than any other fan base that you've made an investment in a team hoping to watch a winner or a contender only to find out that they're less than that and you may have to cut your losses at some point? I don't know. This is not going to be an easy one for the Buffalo Bills. I'm nervous about Atlanta. I've always been, from the moment the schedule got released, I think we were like, what is Atlanta? Who is Atlanta? Is it the Atlanta team that can get production out of all of their playmakers as we've seen them do this season, or is it the Atlanta team that's going to fall asleep and lose to the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. It's funny how, like, after the Bills got by the Ravens, like, okay, yeah, you're undefeated heading to Atlanta, and if they lose to the Falcons, like, as far as that's not a divisional game, it's not a conference game. If you're trying to get the 1 seed, it's, when it comes to tiebreakers, that's the one that doesn't matter. But I guess for record-wise, you got to keep pace with everything. My apologies. Coming at 3 a.m. Who is this on the phone?
All good.
All good.
Who's calling in?
This is Craig in Rochester.
Craig,
Hey, Craig,
I apologize. I'm at the stage where I don't write it down on 4 hours 3. Craig, what's going on, buddy?
My thing with the Bills is it's the warning signs came on the dashboard because the offense is going to have an off week here or there. Josh is allowed to have – he won't be MVP Josh every week. Where's the help on the defense? We have a head coach who's supposed to specialize in it. We've invested for years now resources, and you just sit and you go, that ain't enough. And it's not early anymore, and it's just you're getting to the point like kind of throwing your hands up. It's like Groundhog Day time and time again. The defense with McDermott in the postseason is on losses averages 30 points per game allowed. That's at some point here, something's got to change, and it's just last night was far more the offensive issues, but I'd like to see our supposed head coach show that he can do something with some of this stuff. Yeah, show the defense to be more of a force, because I know Reed with the offense and KC is going to help Mahomes. What's our coach going to do to help his guy? Because he's not an offensive guy.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Craig.
I hear that point. And I think it goes back to what we were just talking about with Ryan, culture versus talent, right? Like you've selected these guys, you've drafted these guys, you've retained these guys, and they're all good culture guys. They're all good locker room guys. But none of them on defense are what you would call game wreckers. And we were shouting about this all off season. This is why I said, why shouldn't the Bills be in on Micah Parsons? Why shouldn't they be in on Myles Garrett?
Well, Dan Fates brought up something interesting. Try again. Cincinnati falling out of it. Do they want to save some money and trade Trey Hendrickson? Remember, he's not there long term. You can figure out a way how to make that fit. That would be the shot in the arm.
I would say maybe. Just like maybe Joey Bosa was the answer, right? Like you're talking about guys that are at that stage of their career. Parsons is the one. That's the one that's going to haunt me. Like the idea that everybody believed he would never leave Dallas. He would never leave Dallas. And then, you can't. Your draft picks aren't as valuable as Green Bay is going to win that division. Well, they'll compete to win that division. They're going to be picking in the back half of the first draft with those first-round draft picks. I'm still mad that I guess we just can't get that guy. We just can't get the young guy in his prime that can actually wreck a game.
Who's older, Joey Bosa or Trey Hendrickson?
I want to say it's Hendrickson.
It is.
Yeah.
Hendrickson born in 94. He's 30. Bosa born in 95. 30. So Hendrickson's birthday is coming up in December. He'll be 31. That's a little surprising.
I liked Rousseau's game last night. I thought Rousseau had his best game of the season last night. But even then, even in his best game of the season, it's like not enough. You got one sack, not enough from the defensive line. You had more pressure. You were flushing him out of the pocket, but you couldn't get him down. He was still able to make plays. And those are the plays that if they happen in the postseason, they become immortal. We're not talking about anything but that play that he made as he was falling to Stephon Diggs, right? Like Daquan Jones, just a split second late in dragging him down.
My question, if I had a question for Sean McDermott, how close was Ed Oliver to returning? And are you trying to load manage this in some way? Because the way Oliver was practicing this week, okay, Milano did come back.
Thought he was going to go.
I thought he was going to go, and then he's not out there. Now, possible you to say that was the difference right there, not having Ed Oliver, but it doesn't help. Doesn't help when you don't have Ed Oliver on that last drive.
Happy hour next, and we continue Blame Assessment Monday. I wish we were playing some Bruno Martino. Sadly, the Bills dropped their first of the season to the New England Patriots on Sunday night. We've been taking your calls all afternoon. Love your reaction at 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326. We'll continue to unpack the loss from last night. Look ahead to a week from tonight when the Bills take the field next in Atlanta. We got a round of shots and last call all coming up before 6 o'clock on the Fan Rochester.
Sports Update.
Bills with their first loss of the season. It's their first home loss in the regular season since the Broncos Monday night game in November 2023. Stephon Diggs gets the win in his return.
I was excited. I kind of spoke on it a little bit for being nostalgic, doing a drive-in. Came in a different interest this time, but, I was happy about it, and I just was happy to be back playing football. It's easy to get kind of lost in the moment while you're out there, but just try to remain focused the whole time and, be there for my teammates.
Monday Night Football has the Chiefs and Jaguars. Chargers running back Omarion Hampton goes on injured reserve with an ankle injury. Baseball tonight, the playoffs focusing on the National League. Dodgers in Philadelphia, Blake Snell against Jesus Lazaro, LA up 1-0. Cubs in Milwaukee, Shohei Imanaga against Aaron Ashby, Brewers up 1-0. Gene Battaglia in the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Wishing it was a Victory Monday. Instead, it's happy hour on a Blame Assessment Monday in the sports bar as the Bills lose their first game of the season at the hands of the New England Patriots last night at Highmark in a whiteout, which, by the way, no more whiteouts. When's the last time a whiteout equaled a win for anybody?
I'm sure if you gave me enough time, but right off the heels of what happened down in Happy Valley and
whiteouts are fun for TV. I'm sure they're fun for the fans. Never give me an outcome. Give me a positive outcome. I want a positive outcome from the whiteout. We didn't get one last night, but we welcome you back in during happy hour here in the sports bar. Thanks for watching along on our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester. You can like and subscribe while you're there. Listening if you're driving around at 95.7 FM, AM 950, or also in the free-to-download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
Yeah, it's a Blame Assessment Monday, and I think, when McDermott says, hey, you can't turn the ball over 3 times, case closed. Sure. No one's going to dispute that. But let's dig it a little deeper here. Because all of a sudden, you've invited the New England Patriots to the party here. And these are recurring problems here from September. You can go back over the playoffs. There are things that really haven't changed with these. But funny how, you lose close games like this where it was one thing here, one thing there. And you could say, hey, it's the league. This happens to a lot of teams. Look, Philadelphia lost a close one yesterday, and I'll listen to that. The Bills weren't going to go 17-0. I told you the Bills would lose this game, but they didn't lose at Danger the way I thought they would. I thought it would be the running game for New England, running all over the place. To see Diggs come in and do that. And to know that, when you get to the postseason, you're going to deal with a legit number one receiver. And also, you can't help but reflect, we don't have this here. Palmer is not that. Keon Coleman, disciplined again at the beginning of the game. We'll get to that. Kincaid, sure, that's nice. But this is a Bills team that if you get to the end of the season, we're going to have reasons why it didn't work out if it doesn't work.
You mentioned it earlier, Lucino. This is the roller coaster ride that is the NFL. There's ups, there's downs, there's peaks, there's valleys, there's twists and turns, and you don't really know what your team is going to be until you get into the dance, and you hope that at that time your team is playing its best football of the season, or that you're peaking at the right time, or you're just figuring things out, or you're getting healthy at the right time. I think this transcends to all sports, too. Look at the Blue Jays. For what the Blue Jays were at the end of the season, what they were the first 2 games of that series this weekend, my God. You're not counting out the Yankees yet. It's a 5-game series. The Jays still have to win 1. But there's no direct path or linear path to success for any of these teams. And for the Patriots, this might be jet fuel for them to be more than what people thought they were going to be this year.
Oh, can I read you the schedule here?
Yeah.
And people might, you get the Saints this week in New Orleans. You go to Nashville. You're home against the Browns, whatever rookie quarterback they tried out by then. You get the Falcons. You get the Buccaneers. Jets, Bengals, Giants, and then you face the Bills again? by the time these two teams meet, Danger, what? There's maybe 2 more losses for the Patriots on this? The Bills can't afford, really, in this division. They're only 1 up on New England. But right now, New England has the tiebreaker.
That's right. And so when you look around the rest of the AFC, if the goal is still get the 1 seed, if that's your best path to a Super Bowl, which we believe it is, yeah, the margin for error is pretty thin moving forward here. You can't give up a game to the Falcons on Monday night. You certainly couldn't afford to lose the game that you lost last night. You know that the Chiefs are going to be improved. By the time you see the Chiefs, that game is going to be
right.
It's going to be something. So this is the NFL. It changes awful quick around here. But it's a hell of a ride. It's a lot of fun. And even in a losing effort today, talking about what the Bills have, what the Bills have not. This is something that I mentioned, I want to say it was after week 3. I want to say it was after week 3 against the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
This looks a lot like last year. It's the same kind of things that happened last year that you're like, it's good. Is it good enough? I don't know that it is. I'm starting to have doubts that it is.
Well, on offense, and it sounds crazy, and it sounds like, oh, you're being greedy. Like you put up 30-plus points in the first 4 games. Last night, that the Patriots have a good defense. You're going to face much better defenses than you saw in New England. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Holding patiently. Lewis from East Rochester. What's up, Lewis?
Hey, guys. First of all, I'd like to thank your call screener. He doesn't scare me when I call. Sometimes they give you 20 questions. But your dude is cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's Gene, by the way.
Yeah, that's why I said I got to do the update. I mean, like, literally, I have 10 seconds to talk. Yeah, you know what, Lewis?
Okay,
you can apply to be our. You want to be our call
I
screener?
love that Lewis thinks we're such a high-budget show that we have an actual. We don't have a producer. We don't have a call screener. It's Gino and I every day. We do the best that we can.
If your name is on the caller ID, I know that, okay, the chances that you're going to crank call us are a little bit lower, So, like, yeah, Lewis, you pass through the gate with flying colors, my friend.
Anyway, I appreciate it. And maybe that's why you guys are good, because you don't have a lot of crap around you or a lot of people around you. Maybe that's what makes you special.
Well, appreciate that.
Anyway, my opinion is I'm not a Bills fan, okay? But I would like to send a message to the Bills fans. Shut the heck up, okay? You guys are going to lose a game, okay? It's okay to lose a game. And then when you do lose, it's just by a field goal or something really close, okay? You guys are good. If anybody, I blame Joe Brady. He's in charge of the menu, okay? He's not feeding the receivers. That's basically my issue is he's not feeding the receivers. He can throw to any of those guys, and he's not calling the plays to throw to these guys.
Yeah, Lewis, I think from last night, and a lot of people will disagree with a lot of what Chris Collinsworth has to say, but I was agreeing with Collinsworth. He's like, why is the offense not running through James Cook more often? Why are we not getting James Cook more involved?
Yeah, and to hear McDermott use the word cute in his post-game you're not getting cute on defense, right? Like the idea that, hey, let's not lose our identity. And I look at the Baltimore loss last year. Lewis, who's your team, by the way? Like,
I don't, mine is the Vikings. All right, I'm going through my own issues. So we're 3-2.
Oh,
we're 3-2. So I feel like I'm blessed to be 3-2.
Lewis,
okay,
Lewis, you and I, buddy, we can get on the Wentz wagon together. A 6'5", 235-pound quarterback from North Dakota State with the blue-collar work ethic and Midwestern values, getting another W for the Minnesota Vikings. Into the bye week, and you got Philadelphia on deck, the revenge game. Let the kid rest a little bit longer. Keep Wentz in the game.
Exactly. I agree totally. But the thing is, he didn't play. He played well at the end, Wentz, but he didn't play like that the whole game.
Yeah.
All right. If he plays like that the whole game, we're riding comfortably. He didn't do that. He saved his best for the end, basically.
Lewis, good call. Don't be a stranger. Appreciate that. And look, you can not be a Bills fan and call us. I like the outside perspective. And you know what? He's saying this at so many words. Shut up. You know, to everybody.
Well, this is the thing that we've said too, is that are we spoiled? Are we spoiled as fans, or are we just looking at it through a lens of this isn't good enough if you want to win a Super Bowl?
Yes, we're trying to do this at a different level.
Right.
We don't want to be like, yay, the Bills beat the Saints. How does everybody feel? Like, what? How do we feel?
Lewis's team is 3-2. Realistically, 3-2, and probably a playoff team. The Minnesota Vikings were a playoff team last year. They could be a playoff team again this year. But does anybody think the Minnesota Vikings are going to go to the Super Bowl? I think that's the difference between where a fan like Lewis would look at his team and say, boy, Bills fans might be a little bit spoiled. I think we're just playing we're in two different ball games here. We're looking at the Bills through the lens of so close for so many years now, whereas the Vikings, like, oh, you made the playoffs and you get bounced in the first round.
The Vikings, if you have the kid, you have that defense, but I'm not ready to take that jump. They're a playoff team, but I don't think a serious contender. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Mike in Seabreeze. What's up, Mike?
Hey, guys. So you guys made my point for me. Chris Collinsworth said it. You know, I don't understand why we didn't turn to the run game sooner once we figured out that we weren't going to be able to survive at a shootout with them. Also, I'd like to know what the statistics are with both Hockey League Senior and Hockey League Junior with the number of fouls and the number of losses we have when they're refereeing games with us. But anyway, you made my point. Thanks.
You got it, Mike. I that's the one thing we haven't brought up on this show because we don't. We don't ever bring up penalties on this show. We don't bring up officiating. Officiating can be bad or good depending on the outcome for any team at any time in any game.
That being said, no one wants to see that just as a product.
Right.
We're not talking about that's the reason the Buffalo Bills lost. Look, that should have been PI. That was it. Okay. And there was another PI call where James Cook falls down and like it was an interception. Oh, negated by PI. Great. Fantastic.
Right.
Cook last night, 15 carries, 49 yards, 3.3 average.
And maybe it's as simple as the Bills just got out physicaled by the Patriots because, you know, you've run that 13 personnel with great success this season. And they had 3 tight ends out there for some of those runs. Mm-hmm. You just didn't get the big pops that you were used to seeing out of James Cook.
I think, though, short passing can be your quasi-run game as well. And Cook had only 1 target. What happened to the wheel route on this team?
Haven't seen it.
No, haven't seen it at all. So, look, it wasn't a good night for Brady. Wasn't a good night for Allen. Drake, funny, like the QB rating for Allen was better than Drake May. I'm like, okay, you know, like
whatever you say.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
my
May
eyes,
had more yards, and yeah.
Right. My eyes told me that Drake May had a better game than Josh Allen. And it really came down to one play. It came down to the red zone interception. When normally, if the Bills are down, I think to myself, they're still winning this game because you have Josh Allen. When Josh Allen threw the red zone pick, I'm like, this feels like a loss.
That felt, ironically, when Josh Allen in that Vikings overtime loss, that crazy loss where Diggs, I'm going to get the ball to Diggs so he can beat his former team, and it's an interception.
Feeding it to Shakir.
Yeah, Shakir commits the offensive PI on the play before, and he's probably feeling down, and that's Allen predetermined. No. We don't predetermine our reads here.
That's right.
He's not open. What are you looking at? That was stunning that he made that choice. But you know, we've seen the greatest of all time, like Brady, have terrible games. So Diggs, 10 catches, 146 yards last night.
Yeah.
10 catches on 12 targets.
Yeah. He was him. He was what we saw when he was in Buffalo. We hadn't seen it in a while. Let's face it, in Houston, he was a crowded room. There was a lot of good receivers on that team. Now, Matt Collins didn't even get targeted, right? Like, no. It's Diggs, it's Booty, and it's their run game, which suffered a blow today with Gibson tearing his ACL last night for the Patriots. He'll be out for the rest of the season.
What's a mystery to me on this, and funny how, like, Ramondre Stevenson, how do you view his game last night? 2 touchdowns. He only carried the ball 7 times for 14 yards and a fumble. So, all right, the 2 touchdowns, I'm sure that, you know, takes care of everything in the end. Travion Henderson, why don't they use him more? What am I missing here with that kid? Why don't they find some plays? Or are they just kind of stashing him away till later in the season trying to space this out? We'll talk to Andy Behrens later in the week.
I mean, as we're seeing around the NFL, running backs feel like they're falling left and right, and you need depth. You do have to manage. So you're concerned about James Cook getting too many touches through 4 weeks going into last night.
Mm-hmm.
I think is a valid one when you look around the league and you see another one, Omari and Hampton now going to IR. He'll miss at least the next 4 games. What are the Chargers doing in their backfield? They lost both Najee Harris and Omari and Hampton. It's tough out there. It's tough for a running back in the NFL. And you look around the NFL, too, for just some storylines. I mean, Saquon getting, what do you get, 6 carries? Something like that? Something ridiculous? As the Eagles lose their first game of the season? Show me the person who had the Indianapolis Colts doing what they're doing.
So the Colts, same record as the Bills. Aha! But their loss was an NFC loss to the Rams last week, and by that's your first tiebreaker. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indianapolis Colts right now are the top seed in the AFC.
Yikes.
Buffalo dropping back to the 2. Then it's Pittsburgh, the Chargers, Jacksonville, the 5, Denver, and New England now sliding at 7. Even Kansas City. Now, Kansas City can rectify that tonight and jump up. So that's kind of a temporary thing. There are some teams that are pretenders. I'm sorry, Steeler fans. This is fun. I don't think it's sustainable. But maybe in that division, maybe you fart around and you can be the 4 seed. You can win a very bad division that none of us thought was going to be bad. Okay? Would that make you happy? Great. As far as the Bills' danger, it's still in front of them. I think what the Colts are doing is a lot of fun. Is it real? They should have beat the Rams. Should have beat the Rams, if not for A.D. Mitchell.
I think the pathway to the Super Bowl for the Buffalo Bills, you think about this schedule that's ahead for the Bills, and I don't think last night's loss prevents them from being the 1 seed. I think they can still get the 1 seed, right? We're not throwing that out. We're like, oh, the 1 seed, forget about the 1 seed. No, you'll get the 1 seed, and you'll probably get the Steelers, which would, if you beat the Steelers, you're sending Aaron Rodgers off to his retirement. Yeah. That would be nice. You do that at home. Think about what that divisional round could look like if it was the Bills, the Steelers, the Colts, and the Chiefs.
I keep coming back to, of those teams, and we'll say the Steelers, you'll have one of the wild card teams win a game. Denver went into Philadelphia danger. Denver has a defense that will be tough when it comes to the postseason. I don't know if the quarterback, but could Denver be that opponent for Buffalo? We're getting way ahead of ourselves. New England right now just 1 game back of Buffalo in the division. And now all of a sudden, funny how all these characters, whether it's Zach Gelb, Portnoy, all these Patriot apologists, all of a sudden, I'm watching something from the guy from BetQL there. He's touting Drake May as, okay, great, fantastic. Great, you're 3-2.
We had Fitzy on with us last week, and his tune changed from, we kind of expect this team to be a 7-8 win team. That would be a nice improvement from last year. I said, well, what if you beat Buffalo on Sunday night? Oh, we're a playoff team. The truth, they're probably a playoff team. When you look at their schedule and how it shakes out, if they don't fall on their face, they're in the postseason. And that win last night all but ensures it for the Patriots, provided they don't fall on their face.
So something, just a sidebar here thing too, because I am rooting openly for Bill Belichick to fail in North Carolina. And to think that guy is so petty that he is not allowing any New England scouts. It goes further than that. So apparently what North Carolina football has done for years, their social media team, hey, here's what's happened in the NFL. And they show you the highlights of different players and everything else. And this year, after wins, They're not showing anything from Drake May, a guy that went number 3 overall
from North Carolina.
Yeah. And they're not showing anything. And then just this morning, they show one play.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So the rumor is that Belichick doesn't want any
There
of
is
that.
a report that Belichick will not allow any Patriot highlights.
Lots of Javonte Williams.
Yes. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Lots of Mitch Trubinsky, my friend. But no Drake May.
No Drake May. But then finally everybody's clamoring like, you're a North Carolina fan. You got to be like, wait a second. He was here before you. We're
That's
proud
right.
of this guy.
That's right. He's doing better than you are. You are not doing well.
What was that? It was 28-3 at the end of the first quarter.
Ugly.
Fans at empty stadium by halftime.
Just, a quick glance at what's going on in college football. And I don't know where you come down on this. The U feels like they're back.
They've been back, yeah.
James Franklin at Penn State.
Fired.
Bye-bye. Inexcusable. Embarrassing. Can't happen. But it has happened. And that's enough. Bye-bye. And yeah, I'm kind of keeping an eye on Alabama.
That was a nice win.
I'm kind of keeping an eye on Alabama. But liked what I saw out of the U. Like what Carson Beck is doing for his draft stock. And we'll keep tabs on.
Meanwhile, Ohio State remains number 1.
Yes.
But who have they played?
Right.
Texas is completely, maybe you weren't good. Bye.
Doesn't help them
No.
that they beat Texas week 1. It does not help them, but they don't have to apologize for where they're at. We got to get to a round of shots next in the sports bar.
We have not talked about this Mark Sanchez story, and we've got updates this afternoon. And okay, what happened? Okay, so it's a story that's been ever evolving here about how did Mark Sanchez end up in the hospital? How did he get arrested? What exactly led? We'll tell you everything we need to know up until this point. Yes, we'll talk a little college football. A shocking story, at least to me, out of hockey today about the NHL. I thought we were going to have this huge storyline, and then, we're going to put this to rest. So, something we'll get to here is the NHL season opens up tomorrow night. And I thought this was like an Onion spoof when somebody was pointing out that Taylor Swift actually wrote a song on her album about a certain body part about Travis Kelce. I'm
going to call him Travis Kelce from now on. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Deliberately mispronounce his name?
Kelce.
Yeah, Travis Kelce. Just because, I don't know, he thinks he's bigger than he actually is. Travis Kelce.
Well, you joke that owners, when you get to wealth, you get alien behavior.
Yeah.
I'm going to submit these lyrics to you, and you tell me, like, who thinks this is a good idea?
I think Taylor Swift is in need of a life coach if she thinks writing a song about Travis Kelce's is a good idea. But we'll dissect it, all right? We'll get to that with a round of shots. Next on the Fan Rochester, don't forget about Last Call, where you can have the final word on today's show, 866-4326, 585-866-4FAN.
Sports Update.
It's not a Victory Monday here in the Sports Bar today. The Bills with the first loss of the 2025 season. Josh Allen says, well, it's simple.
We just played sloppy. Not going to win a football game turning the ball over 3 times in our red zone. Gave them one in their red zone. That's just bad football, and we just did not play good tonight.
Bills are listed as 4.5-point road favorites for their next game. That's next Monday night in Atlanta. Now tonight, it's the Chiefs and Jaguars to wrap up Week 5. Chargers running back Omarion Hampton, he goes on IR with an ankle injury. Baseball tonight, 2 games both in the National League. Dodgers in Philadelphia, Blake Snell against Jesus Luzardo, LA up 1-0. Cubs against Milwaukee, Shohei Imanaga against Aaron Ashby. Brewers right now leading 1-0. Gene Battaglia, sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Listen to 95.7 The Fan Rochester on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps, and take the sports leader with you everywhere you go.
Time for a round of shots in the Sports Bar.
You know, things move quickly in sports. Baseball, no different. The Yankees went from a team that had all the vibes in the wild card round to a team that got hammered in 2 games in the divisional round. Hey, Rochester's Ernie Clement, he's part of a 12-0 lead for the Blue Jays yesterday. 20 runs over 2 days for the Blue Jays. And now it comes down to the Yankees needing to win 3 straight. Today being the travel day. Tomorrow night in the Bronx against the Jays. That could wrap up the series in 3 games. Former Guardian Shane Bieber goes for Toronto. Carlos Rodon starting Game 3 for New York.
Still don't think I can count the Yankees out entirely. As bad as those games went as bad as they could possibly go. And I know you got to win 3 straight. It seems inconceivable. But today, I mean, are you counting out the Yankees 100%? This series is over. I can't do it.
I thought after they dropped the opening game to the Red Sox, okay, now this doesn't look too good. And they found a way. But ultimately, to see Fried, oh boy, like that should have been, all right, you have your guy on the mound. So who do they go back to if this gets back to Toronto? Could I see the Yankees winning both games in New York? Yes. But to win 3 in a row, it's going to be tough. Talk about things moving quickly. All right, this whole Mark Sanchez story all started out, right, the first report from TMZ said, hey, Mark Sanchez has been stabbed. These injuries are severe. His current employer, Fox, putting out a statement asking for privacy. Okay, this is going according to, these sort of stories, except that's not how it exactly happened. What did happen? Well, Sanchez was running sprints in an alley in Indianapolis somewhere around midnight Friday. The game Colts and Raiders he's in town for. So it's typical that these announcers will come in a few days early, okay? So that's kind of strange, okay? Now, pulling in is a box truck, and it's a 69-year-old gentleman who is doing his job. He's parking in this alley where there's a restaurant, and his job is to get the grease traps. This is like one of the yuckiest jobs.
Oh, he's recycling oil. Yeah.
Yucky job, and you can't do it during the day.
Right.
You do it after the restaurant's closed. Now, this is where we're not sure of all the details here, Danger, but there's video. The confrontation escalating to the point where the truck driver believed he was in danger, pepper sprayed Sanchez. That didn't work. Sanchez still advancing toward him, and the truck driver thought, quote, according to the police report, this guy is going to kill me. That's when Sanchez gets struck 2 or 3 times. The truck driver thrown against a dumpster. He is not in good shape when you see these photos. He called it a life or death situation. Long story short, Mark Sanchez right now facing felony charges. They've been originally said misdemeanors. He's going to appear in court tomorrow. I don't know. So what? Are we assuming this is like a Zay Jones story? Like Sanchez, according to the police report, says he remembers none of this.
And I want to say that there could be a prison term of 1 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Could they shorten that for time served when he was the Jets quarterback?
Danger.
The guy's going to be okay. I mean, it was the pictures. I didn't need to see those pictures. I saw him. I'm like, okay, I don't know why I clicked on that. It's brutal. Sanchez is, the guy was fearing for his life. So He's 69 years old. Sanchez is a former NFL player. Who do you think is getting the better of who in that altercation? I don't know what he was on. Could you? I mean, I have. That's the only explanation I could have is that he was somehow altered and certainly wasn't thinking straight. So just kind of a weird story, gross story. Glad the guy's going to be okay, but still.
I think both are going to be okay, but story far from over, and I don't know, like, Sanchez ultimately loses his job with Fox, right?
I think why Fox is being quiet here is because they have a responsibility in this as well. He was there only because he was calling the game. So if you take him out of that position from Fox, he's not in there. So Fox, I think, being as judicious and as litigious as our society is, I think Fox not saying anything, they don't want to get their hands slapped in this either. They have a sort of responsibility to make sure their guy isn't going into a town where he's working and wreaking havoc, which is what he did.
I would think Fox is like, hey, you're on your own time after hours. You
would assume
try to walk away.
You would assume we're all adults here. You would assume, but maybe not. And they're being awful quiet. I would imagine. I mean, if it were me, and I'm not running Fox, but if it were me, all right, this is good. You're gone. We'll find somebody else. That's okay.
Yeah, it'll be one of those. Okay, he's not going to be on the air. I don't think anytime soon.
But you know what they'll have to do if it is substance abuse related. Fox will have to offer up the help that Sanchez. They'll have to show that they've done that before they can say you're gone. Like, you have to eliminate him after you've explored all those options.
Well, let's say if there was something like that, did Fox actually know? So, like, there's so many tentacles to this. Did you know he had a problem? And we're just kind of
we're assuming he has a problem. We don't even know.
I mean, or was he just like, hey, I need to get a workout in. Move your truck. No. Hey, you're being mean. I can't imagine.
I mean, who amongst us hasn't? In when you've been out or you're in a drunken stupor and you just challenge your buddies to feats of strength, a wind sprint or my favorite was always the let's dunk our face in ice cold water and see who can last the longest, or just different feats of strength, different dares. When you're just me, not just me.
No, I think it's just you.
No, it's not just me. I know that there's others out there that will do that.
Anyone remember that Texas was actually a road favorite week 1 at Ohio State?
Feels like forever ago.
Think about that. That was the first time that ever happened. Hey, Ohio State, you're the preseason 1, but you're an underdog. What? The Longhorns now out of the top 25 altogether, but good for them. They're not the lead story of shame this weekend. That title goes to Penn State. The Nittany Lions losing to an 0-4 UCLA team, a UCLA team that had a loss to New Mexico on its resume, got the coach fired after that. The AP top 10 this week: Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Ole Miss, and A&M. Oklahoma 6, followed by Indiana, Alabama, Texas Tech, and Georgia.
Indiana's the interesting team in that bunch. I want to see just exactly what they are. And I know there's a matchup against Penn State. I think Oregon and Indiana's coming up here too. That's going to be interesting to see how the Big Ten shakes out outside of Ohio State.
Yeah, every college football has been great this year. So
sure
far,
has.
Right? Star center Connor McDavid. Are you kidding me? He was going to be a free agent. No, not so fast. He tacks on 2 years. It's a 2-year contract extension with an average value of 12.5. 2 years, $25 million. That's all it took. What am I missing here? Is he taking the Tom Brady route?
NHL is a poverty organization. When you think about what that guy, imagine a guy with his level of skill playing a sport like baseball or football or basketball and what he would get paid. It wouldn't be a 2-year, $12.5 million per extension.
No, and this sounds like I'm being contradictory because you're talking out of both sides of my mouth. I want small markets to succeed. I live in Rochester. We have Buffalo down the road. I'm sorry, like Edmonton, like you say it's Seattle. Edmonton's like on a different planet to me. Connor McDavid in Los Angeles, Connor McDavid on Broadway, Connor McDavid anywhere. I was looking forward to this, and maybe we get to that at some point. My only theory here is, and we got this from our guy Dennis Bernstein, it's like, wait a second. Connor McDavid's wife opened a restaurant in Edmonton. She's happy there. Is it
good?
Just happy wife, happy life? Is that all it is?
Fine. Good. If that's true, like I don't know anything about his personal life, but if that's the case, if that's the motivation for staying in Edmonton, great. He's fun to watch, man. I would love him to be stateside because I feel like we would see him more. But we'll just see him in the finals again, and eventually he'll get over, I imagine.
Or should just maybe ESPN put him on more, like. Right? I mean, this idea, and that was more of an NBC thing, like, hey, coming up tonight, it's going to be St. Louis and Chicago. No offense, Danger, but after Chicago won their cups, like, okay, do I really want to watch this, or do I want to see stars here?
Right.
Like something, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I was surprised by that. I was surprised that it was 2 years, 12.5 per, which seems low. But this is... I think this is where the NHL is versus everybody else. I don't know that they're willing or able to pay the kind of money that other leagues are paying their stars.
Finally, I'm going to try to present this as best I can without commentary. I'll leave that to you, Danger.
All right, very good.
Okay, so Chiefs in Jacksonville tonight.
Yeah.
And, with the Chiefs, there's all this other thing kind of going on. The Taylor Swift. Oh, she's got a new album out, right? Life of a Showgirl. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, everybody debuted it.
Oh,
right?
I'm familiar with it. Yeah, I spent some time listening to it this weekend on 98 PXY. I also brand manage. So, yeah, that was a big part of it.
Okay, so now is the part of the story where I'm going to tell people if you get easily offended, go somewhere else, all right? Okay, there we go. On the new album is a song called Wood. It's exactly what you would think it is. Danger, these are the award-winning lyrics. Redwood tree, it ain't hard to see. His love was the key that opened my thighs. Oh, there's more from Taylor Swift. Hard rock, a curse on me that's broken by your magic wand. New heights of manhood.
Oh, new heights. She slid it in there.
I ain't got a knock on wood. What's worse, Taylor Swift appealing to the lowest common denominator here, making dick jokes, or us reporting on this?
Yeah.
Reporting on an out-of-touch celebrity talking about her fiance's manhood.
So I've got several thoughts on this, Gino. First of all, if you were to read those lyrics, if you were a middle schooler taxed with writing poetry, you might look at some of the lyrics from Life of a Showgirl and be like, oh, that was really well done. But she's Taylor Swift. I think we have a higher expectation than middle school poetry. This is something nobody asked for. Nobody asked for this. Even I think her diehard fans, I don't think anybody asked for this. And this is alien behavior. This is so supremely out of touch that you never hear the word no. You're only surrounded by people that are going to tell you how great you are, and you're never going to hear no. Who thought this was a good idea? Who sat down with Taylor and her team and said, you know what would kill? Let's do a song about Travis Kelce's dong. It's a bad idea. But she did it anyways, because nobody's going to tell her no.
In case you weren't aware what she was talking about, just to say new heights of manhood.
Yeah. Oh, nice little tip of the cap to the podcast where you get it's just weird and out of it smacks of being out of touch. She's not young, humble Taylor Swift who I'm a victim because I've been in all these bad relationships anymore. She's a billionaire. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you anymore. So if you're going to hype the way you hype, you got to bring the goods. You got to deliver the goods. Now, her live show, right, from everything I heard, the Eras Tour was life-changing for a lot of people. Although I would say if a concert changed your life, I'd question how good your life was before you went to that concert. But I'm not going to say anything negative about her live show because all reports are it was fantastic. One of the best tours of all time. She's made that money. She's raked it in. Then to come back with, here's 18 different album covers for you to buy or pre-order or do everything. This is not about Taylor Swift, the artist, anymore. This is about Taylor Swift, the record-breaking artist. It's all about numbers and metrics that she can look back on and say, I did all of this. I broke my own records. I am the most successful.
This isn't her brand, though.
No, but it doesn't matter. She's not thinking about her brand. She's not thinking about the artistry of writing a good song. She's just thinking about what can I sell and how fast can I sell it and how many people. Well, and she's got an army of fans who would kiss her boots even if she stepped in dog crap. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This album is getting killed by the critics. Destroyed by the critics. Her fans, she's got them. It's kind of like us in the NFL, right? Like the NFL, there's a lot of things that we don't like about the NFL, but for the most part, the NFL can do no wrong. We're going to watch no matter what. Well, if you're a Swiftie, you're going to listen no matter what, and you're going to find the positive in everything that she does. But listening to this and these lyrics, my God. No.
Well, I always thought Taylor Swift, and you and I are out of the range now. Feel kind of old, right? Like, hey, my 12-year-old daughter. Like, yeah, you can listen to Taylor Swift, wholesome, and talking about breakups or whatever. I don't need my daughter hearing Redwood Tree. It ain't hard to see.
Then you should be wagging a finger at Sabrina Carpenter, because she's kind of like right now as hot as Taylor Swift right now, and she got that way by being a little tongue-in-cheek, a little innuendo, a little bit of naughty lyrics here and there. And, it's probably not something you want your 12-year-old listening to, but it's safe. It's female. It's poppy. It's,
thank goodness we don't have her at the Super Bowl.
You'll never have Taylor. As long as Jay-Z is booking, you will never have Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. I've been saying it for years. For everybody, Taylor Swift. Who's Bad Bunny? I'm like, Taylor Swift ain't coming to the Super Bowl as long as Jay-Z is booking. And as long as the NFL doesn't pay people to perform halftime. Because she's going to want money, and she deserves it. She should get money.
Now, in a locker room setting, and locker rooms are different places, Danger. They are, anything kind of goes. Does Travis Kelce hear about this from his teammates, or is he himself the alien of the locker room?
Yes.
Where you're not even?
Yes, he is alien behavior. That's what makes him act the way he acts with Andy Reid, right? Like we see these dust ups on the sideline. It's like this guy doesn't hear no. Nobody hears no anymore. When you reach that level of status, you don't know what the word no means, and you don't really know, if you hear no, you don't know what to do other than act the way he acts when Andy Reid does what he does. No. Kind of disappointed by the effort here by Taylor. Just feels like a little bit of a money grab. She's getting crushed. Getting crushed on the line, except from the Swifties. The Swifties love her. And don't come after me. These are not my opinions. These are the opinions of the critics.
Ain't gonna knock on wood. We are overbooked tomorrow, Danger. We got everybody, including Michael Leone.
Hey!
With his, making his, the Amberks open up Friday. Michael F. Florio, NFL Network. Of course, Matt Perino, Syracuse Post-Standard. We'll also talk to the new head coach for RIT Men's Hockey, Matt Thomas, Tuesday. Going to be a great show.
Okay. Lots of guests, lots of action. Tomorrow afternoon, we're back starting at 3 with a brand new episode. Check out our YouTube channel if you missed any of today's show, and stand by for JR Sport Brief next.
You're listening to The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester. From Sabres heartbreak to Bills hype, we're talking about your teams every day on The Fan, Rochester.